And good evening, everybody. I'm Blaine Singletary for the ARML, and this is Thursday Night Action. We have a slew of great matches for you tonight, including some newcomers coming up in this first match in the B3 division and the A1 division later on in the night. I'm joined tonight by Nathaniel, who is kind of last minute here. I'll get your name right on the screen, but good to see you this evening.
Yeah, glad to be here, taking the place of Lucas for the evening, and really excited to watch some of this B3 action. I recognize a couple of these names from last season. Well, one specifically, Jessa, who notably has qualified for the IORMC USA team. So
That's
congratulations to
right.
Jessa, who will
Yes.
hopefully be qualifying for promotion in the B3 league. But a few other names I saw, Will, of course, a Twitch regular. Awesome to see Will in the league
Yes,
this
indeed.
season, and then Harrison as well, who has been assisting a lot in the volunteer section, and in fact, I think did the broadcast, the
Right.
last broadcast. So
Right, and he's been helping me out getting this together tonight. So definitely
great, yeah,
many
really
thanks to
looking
him. So
absolutely.
yeah, we are here in East One now. The game is underway. The door is 6 pin, and we're seeing MP here. That's Daniel with three of them already. So a great start to this hand here. Just needs to find a few, get rid of some errant tiles there, and you'll be on the road for a pretty explosive hand to start things off. But meanwhile, we have Jessa with some sequences of their own here. A few, well, almost sequences. They're starting to get there. Across the table, we have Harrison, as we were talking about before, with a few sequences up there and a pair getting close ish. And Red Zone, also known as Will, we see a Anko of the 5 Mon and some pairs as well, and some sequences also about to come together here.
Yeah,
Picking
this
up a
is
Khan now as well.
interesting. Yeah, all the 5 mon in hand. So MP as Daniel will not be finding those, but Daniel is willing to call anything really, particularly the 3 mon. Fortunately, Ricci comes out first from Will with the 3-6 so wait for Ricci Tanyao.
Interesting. Yeah. That would be 3-6, you're right. Yeah.
And of course, dealer has so much incentive to push this. That's 12,000 in hand.
Be an explosive way to start this game. Start this season, in fact. As you can see in the upper corner there, Jessa, the only returning league player to the proceedings. Three new people to this league, and of course, as you've noted, Nathaniel, there have been we know some of these players from other streams and other goings on in the ARML, but we'll see how they do in the league now. Now that we're counting their stats here.
Yeah, the dealer in this situation has not had that much danger to push here. Decides to make a switch up, going headless now, hoping to be able to pair up either the 2 or 4 mon or the 6 so. The 7 so would be an unfortunate pair up, as you'd be discarding into the Ricci hand.
I see.
And the rest of the table playing fairly defensively across. Harrison doesn't really have that much to fight for. It is a hand that is Ishan 10. So actually might be willing to fight. It looks like the 6 mon came out. And to the
Still only one
right.
table. One player in Tenpai still.
Yeah.
3 and 6.
But 2 are Ishan 10. Oh, there's a
the
winning tile.
six. I think they're gonna hang on to that.
Yeah. Danger is if they find Tenpai, they're very likely to discard the 3 or the 6. So, because it'd be Pinhutoran.
Yeah, but the likelihood of getting that at this point is rather slim as we're into the final 10.
Oh, that's
Here's
Tenpai.
Tenpai for dealer, yes.
We'll have a safe discard. Between the 2 and the 4 decides the 2 is safer.
Gonna greed keeping all three Dora there.
Yeah, I think.
I suppose either way it's a Tonki or a
Oh!
Oh, picks up the 6 so for Ricci, Sumo, all simples, and no Ura, but starting off with a cool 5,000. as we head into
Yeah,
East
found
2.
the last 6-0 in the wall. Nice.
All right, as we head on into East 2 now. Dora is west, and taking a look at the hands starting off right now. Already an Anko in the 4-pin right now, and with those shapes next to it, you can do a lot of interesting things with the Pinzu at this point. Also, good sequence in the Manzu to start off with. That could finish off very quickly here, especially with that pickup.
Yeah, Chess is drawn amazingly.
Wow, incredible. Looking on the right here, we have a few pairs to start with. Oh, picking up a 4th just now. We'll see what that turns into. Could be Chitoy, a pretty good chance of that. Across, we have a sequence in the Pinzu, as well as a pair of Norths. It's not the Yakuhai for them, of course. And on the left, a couple of pairs there, actually 3. And still probably determining where this hand goes from here.
Yeah, the Yakuhai pair of the East is a good start. Haven't seen one come out just yet.
I believe that's Tenpai for dealer with that one pickup.
Yeah, it would just be Richie Nomi, and I wonder if Jessa wants to greed a little bit.
It is only turn 5 here.
He's going for it.
There you go.
So perhaps aiming for the Itsu here on top of things would need the 6-pin and the 9-pin. Of course, I think it's totally acceptable to take the Ricci as dealer, but this is certainly... Oh. There we go.
There's the 6, though.
Paying off.
Fortune favors the brave here in the ARML.
So this is an incredibly wide weight, 36958, where the 9-pin would be the Takame for Ricci, Pinfu, Itsu.
That's right. You would need the 9 to get that pure straight. And we can see there's one of the 9s up in the hand across. Part of a sequence there, not likely to come out. Oh, there's the 5.
Will just collecting winning tiles. And as the rest of the table, you're a little bit suspicious of this discard pattern. First, the early Sozu come out, and then the 1-mon, and then a 7-6-mon right from hand. You're like, what's going on? It looks like a pin weight, and it looks like it's going to be a good weight. And if you are assuming that as one of the other players around the table, you'd be absolutely correct.
Right, you don't see any of those in the discards right now. Picks up the 6.
And that's totally fine.
Yes. That would put you into Furiten, and then, that kind of negates the amount you get with that, of having a wide weight like that. So definitely respectable. 8,800 points to take the lead here as we continue with East 2. Dora is now 9-mon, and take a look at this. Already a pair of those in this dealer hand. A sequence in the Pinzu as well. Building on that with that draw. On the right, for Suizo, we see a sequence and an Anko already set. A very nice start off for that hand as well. Across, we have more... it's coming together as some sequences here, but has a little bit of work to do. And on the left, a pair and a sequence already locked in, with some other encouraging looking shapes, but still a little bit of a road to go here.
Another pretty decent looking hand for dealer. With the 2 Dora, you know you've got a large amount of the value at this table, and so definitely aiming to find a Ricci here. If you can add Pinfu on top of that, that would be excellent. And the 7-pin is a great draw, so now you are Ishanten.
That neat overlapping shape that I like so much. Well, we have 10
generally
now.
In the situation as dealer, you discard the 2-so there, just in case you draw the 3rd Dora, then you'd be able to reach with 3 Dora. But instead finds Tenpai right away. And we'll see if Harrison chases. Doesn't declare a chasing reach here. So the dealer hand, Ricci, Dora 2. The hand to the right, Dama for Tanya Ipeko.
And I believe, they're waiting on the 5-mon, which would be Ipeko, as you said. Yes. It's that awkward situation where you each have each other's weight. Granted, there's still a few of them left in the wall, so...
Harrison has 2 5-mon remaining. just with only one Formon in the wall.
That's right. I see what he was waiting for now. This will expand that weight a little bit more. You give up Ipeco, but you're open now for this 5. Well, that's what he was open for first. But that'll be Ricci, Ipatsu, Tanyao with 2 Uradora. I don't think he's going to miss that Ipeco. And the Mongon for a total with all the sticks of 10,300 points.
Yeah, you're happy with the Mongon. You are still wishing you had that Ipeco to make it Hanemon, of course.
Still, though, that'll be the lead for Harrison as we head into East 3. The Dora is 3 pins. See one of those in hand. Part of a little bit of a sequence starting to form up here. You have one finished already, though, in the Sozu and in the Manzu as well. On the right, in Red Zone's hand, there's a sequence in the Manzu. An almost sequence forming up here in Pinzu and Sozu as well. Picking up an Anko of the 9-pin now. So good progress there. Across, well, you got a couple of pairs here and a sequence locked in. Gotta find out what to do with the rest of these tiles, though, as they're all kind of far apart at the moment. And on the left, we see another Ipeco shot here with the 6, 7, 8 Pinzu. Couple pairs to go along with it, so you could just bail on Ipeco and go for Jitoi, if you'd like.
Yeah, again, dealer so close to Tempa already. Ishanten, Ricci, Pifdora 1.
Mm-hmm. And seeing fast Tenpais from Harrison tonight so far.
Yeah, it seems like everyone has gotten one. Their starting high pies dealer has been excellent. We'll see if this continues all the way to Will's first dealership.
Yes, there we go.
Only the one Dora being used well in Harrison's hand and the one in Jessa's hand finds its way out as Jessa has found Ishanten.
There you go.
Oh, but this is another Tenpai. First for Will. Not willing to take the Ricci here as it's just a 6-so Kanchan and one's already been cut. Not the ideal weight at all.
Yeah. Would have to draw that 6, but there's plenty of ways you can upgrade that weight. As we see, one of the 6 is already out, so definitely don't want to try for that with only 3, but 2 in the hand is what we can see. They're not likely to come out, as they're part of a sequence here that could just come together.
Yeah, when you're in this position, sometimes you're just looking for a better floating tile to break Tenpai and pick a better Ishanten. But now we're starting to get late into the round.
Harrison here picking up another 8. Was thinking about which one he wants to make pair, but going to leave the 2-mon have that job. West called across the table here.
So that's Ishanten for Daniel. Oh, here's Tenpai finally. Look at all the discards in a row. 4 in a row. Harrison couldn't find Tenpai.
Always can be disheartening, but now waiting on the 5-so and the 8-so. All the 5s appear to be, well, just about spoken for, and we see them in hands not likely to come out. 1-8 on the field. There's the 8 in this hand, though.
Oh, Ipatsumo.
Wow.
Along with your Ricci Pinfu.
With one Dora.
No, not to make it Hanema, but still, this is going to be a massive hand, and Harrison taking a huge lead in this game.
A dealer's Mongon. 13,000 points for 47,700.
Knocks everyone below 30,000, and of course, for viewers who are unfamiliar with the UMA situation for this league, you're guaranteed a positive score if you're over 30,000, and you're guaranteed a negative score if you're below 30,000. So a big goal is to make sure that you stay above that 30,000 mark. Currently, Harrison, the only player in position.
And a neat sub-goal, if you can achieve it, is keep everyone below 30,000, because that's extra points for you.
Yeah, you get an extra 5 UMA points if you can manage that.
There you go. Well, starting off in this hand, Harrison's got one Dora with the 8-mon. It's kind of sitting by itself right now, so I don't think we might see that stick around too long, especially with some other really nice shapes in this hand. Nothing super sticking out yet, as of yet, though. Looking on the right, a pair of Hatsu. Picking up the south just now. Not going to hang on to it, though, because you see this hand already, a few other pairs and some other action happening in it. Kind of want to keep that speeding up. Across, you see 4 pairs already. Could be Chitoi, probably too early to call, because these are rather close pairs at the moment. Yeah, you have an Ipeco chance in the Manzu up there. And on the left, got some... a couple pairs right now, and that's really about it. Kind of a tough situation here. As you can see, they started with 1 of each wind, which is, unless you're going for Kokoshi, is not a very good place to start.
The dealer's discard pond looking a little bit sad with the 3 consecutive tunes. But really, I wonder if there's a chance that Harrison finds Tenpai for the Sanshoku, the 678 Sanshoku. That would be huge as well. And guaranteeing the incorporation of the door. This is Tenpai. Will we see a Richi or a Dama?
Going Richi. Gonna hang on to this momentum with dealer. Waiting only on the 7 Mon. One of them is the door indicator. We see 2 more in the hand across.
Only 1 left on the wall makes this a tough wait, but a dealer reach is so scary. I don't know if anybody's going to be willing to fight this. Unless they have the Dora, and I guess that would be Daniel across the table with this very nice Ishanten.
Mm-hmm. That wouldn't be one you'd want to discard anyway, I don't think.
Right. Yeah, we might see a fight here. It will depend on how quickly Daniel can find Tenpai, and if he can get there safely. Of course, ideal draws would be the 6 or 9 Mon, 3 or 6 pin, and then the 7. So.
I'm thinking we're seeing a bit of a... Well, I think they're still testing the waters here.
Oh, there it is. That chases. Not even a Dama here.
Chasing with Ipeco Dora 2. Deciding what would be the safest tile to rush this with the 6 pin.
I think this is setting up a trap. It's the 7 so is safe to both. Well, it's Suji, not safe, but Suji to both of the reaches. And rather than choosing the Pinfu weight, a wider weight, I wonder if Will's gonna play into this. So far, a safe tile, but he's the only player with a 7 so in hand. At least now the 5 pin is confirmed safe.
Yeah. Feel the tenseness at this table. I think on the left, couldn't be also trying to chase this, huh? Oh, there's the... This'll tell, but that does fit in the hand. Oh, yep, dropping the 6
safe.
Instead.
Yeah, so, safe tile.
Gonna stay out. Another safe tile. Good for you.
Yeah, and that was the final 7 Mon as well.
That is true, yes. So
now
sweet.
all winning tiles have been drawn.
So
but
Harrison...
Really will the only... Go ahead.
There's
the call for Tenpai.
But that'll be playing the 7 so and dealing in. For Richi, Ipeco, 2 Dora, and no Ura, but that'll make a very strong second for Daniel here. Yeah,
that was a very interesting play, you know, choosing the trap weight, and it ended up paying off.
It's always nice when that works out. Anyway, Absolutely. We're moving on to East 4. Dora is West. A very nice starting hand from our dealer here. You have some sequences already set, some pairs as well. You have a lot of possibilities with this hand, and you can achieve most of them fairly simply. Looking on the right, already an Anko of the South. Impressive to do, considering the South is the door indicator, and hey, you got a West there as well, but no, they're going to go in and drop that one. You see a couple of pairs in hand as well to keep things going. Across the table, a couple of Easts here. A good sequence locked in with the Pinzu already. and some other good shapes in Manzu. And on the left, for Harrison, 3 pairs right now. One of those could be a sequence, though. You have some possibilities here, but a little bit of work to make them convert here.
Yeah, Will, looking at this hand, decides that Tanyao is the easiest path to making Yaku, wants to get a dealer repeat to make up for some of those points that were lost a little earlier. It doesn't have a lot of value outside of that, so aiming for speed here instead. The pocket south Anko for Daniel is a really nice start, though.
Absolutely.
And I wonder how long Harrison will hang on to that Dora West. Yeah, 2 have come out now, and so the 3rd follows. But this is Ishan Ted for Will.
That's right. Needs either the 3 or the 5 to get this hand to Tenpai. Of Sozu, of course. And there's the 3.
Talk about perfect draws.
Commentator's blessing kind of coming in fashion this season here. 4 and 7 is a tile that Will is waiting on. We see a pair of the 7s in the hand on the right. Daniel's hand, of course.
Might be able to use both of them. It really depends on the draws.
Jessa picking up the 4. One of the 4s. That's the first time we've seen one of them. Still plenty more to go in this 40-tile wall.
And Jessa Ishan Ted for a very tricky weight. If you can pull in the 3 or 6 pin, then you'd have a Shampon Ricci on the east and a Green Dragon.
Indeed.
Well, this is interesting for Daniel. A pair up of the 5. And
calls the 3 pin now. Now the Shampon is active.
Jessa can end things quickly here. It won't be an expensive hand, but you really don't want the 4th place dealer to go on a bit of a streak either. So
this is that point in the hand, though, where you don't want to drop, especially uncut honors at this point, though. So I don't know. That's going to be kind of a tough ask here from the other players, I'd imagine.
Daniel really committing to this either Chitoi or Honitsu, and most likely Honitsu.
Or both. Why not?
Sure. Where are the remaining 4? Well, here's a 7. That's probably going to come out.
And that'll be that for a quick Tanyao for Will.
Yeah, it took a little bit longer than Will was probably expecting, but got there in the end.
And apologies me being rather slow on these names. Some of them are kind of new, getting them trained on the tongue, but glad to have them here, of course.
Absolutely.
East 4 continues now. The Dora is 1 so. A great presence in the Pinzu right now in our dealer's hand on this repeat. Got some pairs in there, as well as some good sequences forming up. That could, in the best case scenario, turn into something really expensive. Taking a look at Daniel's hand. A couple of pairs already and some sequences locked in at the moment. Across the table, we see Jessa with a couple of pairs and Anko the 5 pin already locked in. That's turning into something very scary here on this spooky month. And on the left, for Harrison, we have a couple of pairs here at the moment and a sequence locked in already, including the Dora 1 so.
Dealer was forced to discard that 1 so for the sake of efficiency. The hand that is closest to Tenpai looks like Daniel's on the right. Ishanten already has the ability to call the Haku as well. Opening the hand will of course cheapen it, but dealer has shown the ability to continue, to make a continuance. So shutting that down is always a good plan.
I see. Oh, picks up the Haku. And there's Tenpai. Waiting on the 8 or the 5 so. 2 8s in the dealer's hand right now and 1 5 off in Harrison's hand on the left. There's a 5 drawn now. That fits pretty nicely in this hand. I don't think Jessa's going to drop that.
Yeah, Jessa might have to give up on the Honitsu.
A good call, though. Meanwhile, dealer might be leaving open the door for Chitoy. Or probably just trying to play it safe at this point. Chitoy is one of those hands you can end up in if you're playing defensively sometimes.
Right, and Will, although has his dealer, so has incentive to push from that, and also is in 4th place currently, even more incentive to push. You don't want to find yourself in a really big hole at the start of the game. I guess we haven't even hit the South round yet, so we'll probably play around, not necessarily folding completely, but trying to find a route to Tempai regardless.
There's the 5, so that's going to help the dealer's hand quite a lot here.
This might end up turning into a Tanyao.
Yeah. All you got to do is safely drop the Chun and the 9.
Exactly.
And
we can't see any out. It's Shompai right now. In fact, the 3 remaining Chuns they're all on the wall. Oh no, the one was discarded earlier by Will himself. So there's a little bit of safety there. We can see, of course, 3 of the winning tiles remaining in the wall. 2 8-so, 1 5-so.
And the dealer is definitely angling towards Tanyao here. Still hanging on to that Chun. I think we can see that come out right now, though.
I think so. Yeah, Ishanten could even call into Tempai here. Speaking of calling into Tempai, it's not quite Tempai yet, but just as Ishanten. Oh, there's
Tempai for dealer.
And I think you just got to push this now.
Just go for
Currently,
it. You need the points.
10. But Manzu looks okay. Oh, but there's the 8-so
picks up. The last one, it'll be Ricci Sumo with the White Dragons. 5,300 points as we move on to South 1.
All right, well, positionally, Daniel chasing Harrison down. Both players have built some very nice hands up to this point.
We're rather separated here going into the half, but, anything can happen. We still have an entire, of course, half of gameplay to go here. Dora starting us off in the South round is 9 Mon. We see one of those in hand right now, kind of sitting by itself, but we'll see if Daniel makes a little bit, makes them at home. But with these draws, that's not looking likely here. You see the rest of the hand very nicely put together. In Jessa's hand on the right, Anko of the 7. So, yes, Ishanten, you're right. Looks very nice. Across there, we see an Anko of the West. That's Yakuhai, so already getting that locked in. Very nice for Harrison. And only the second draw, and look at this progress from everybody right now. That's going to help Harrison out that draw as well. And on the left, in Will's hand, we have a pair here. Of course, the Hatsu called early on. And needs some work here, so I definitely see why that call was made. Gonna need to start finding some value at this point, though, to get out of this rather far last place. Well, it's not too far from 3rd.
Yeah, it was a pretty desperate call for Will. The starting hand was not amazing. And interesting from Jessa actually drawing into that 9-so. Perhaps aiming for the Sun Anko would be incredible. Also, if you draw the 7, so you have the option of building an Ipeko as well.
Harrison picking up a 3rd pair there. Oh, if you don't count the Anko of West. But we have Tenpai for dealer now. Waiting on the 6 or the 9, so.
Yeah, it was interesting watching the dealer's hand progression, holding on to that 9 Mon for so long, trying to find a way to make use of it. Finally was able to get Tenpai. Unfortunately, couldn't make use of that door, so ended up throwing it out, but was definitely discarding some efficiency in order to maintain the possibility of incorporating it. So very a strategic loss of efficiency.
Right. It's all about gaining some tempo here as dealer. And that's exactly what we're seeing from Daniel right now.
Riichi Pinfu, not necessarily the most expensive hand just yet, but with Sumo, with an Ura, this could get pretty expensive.
Mm-hmm. Especially if you hit it off of Harrison right now.
Yeah, that would be the best result.
Now, the weight prospects aren't great, as we can see. The 9s and a 6 are off in Jessa's hand right now.
A little bit of danger for Jessa if she finds Tempai for that Sun Anko, especially drawing something like the 9 so. And I think she'd be very tempted to throw the stick out.
Though.
8 so is Suji. 1 mana is safe. Oh, but the 9 comes out, and that will deal in Riichi Pinku and Nogura. So just the 2,900 rather, but that is somewhat important in the placement because now Will has a very clear target, only 1,000 points behind Jessa now.
Wow. What a play. There we go. South 1 starting us off now. We see 2 of those previous Dora in this hand. Sadly, they are not Dora now. That Dora is South. But a great presence of the Pinzu right now. We're seeing some sequences already lined up. Of course, that pair I mentioned earlier. On the right, a pair of the Chun. A couple sequences there. Sorry, we're just 1. Oh, now it's 2. Thank you all. Across, Harrison is picking up another sequence there as well. It's all just coming together as I look at them. So, as we go to Will's hand now, gonna need some luck there. Got a couple of pairs and a sequence if you disregard one of those pairs, but otherwise some rather big gaps in these numbers here. Gonna need some help here from the wall.
Yeah, on the right, we'll start with 8 unique terminals and then drew a pair. Mm-hmm. Terminals and otters and drew a pair, so it was definitely a rough starting hand.
Right, and I was seeing the from the corner of my eye, it looked like might be a Kokoshi run, but that wasn't quite to that point yet.
Yeah,
and of course,
we don't
do Kyushu Q-High here.
You're right. No reset. So Will had to make the best of it that he could. Decided perhaps going the normal route, maybe even for a Chitoi in the end. Looks like we have Tempai from Jessa for 1,000 points, and Tao will come out, get the Honba as well.
A very quick hit from Jessa there.
Put a little bit of distance between you and your direct competition.
As we head into South 2, Jessa looking to start to make a comeback here, perhaps. With this hand, though, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge. 3 pairs, though, and some good-looking almost sequence there in the Sozu. Oh, there's an Anko now. Speaking of Ankos, well, that's called now. Harrison just calling the White Dragons here, and a couple of pairs to go along with it. Actually, 3 in that hand. Could become other pawns as well. Across the table, we see a sequence in the Sozu, a couple of pairs there as well. And on the left, a sequence in the Sozu, as well as a sequence in the Manzu as well. And there's another sequence. It's coming together quite nicely for a possible Pinfu here, depending on how it all shakes out.
Of course, Jess will want to make use of the door in this hand. And South is a really valuable call for Harrison. We are in the South round. He is in the South seat. That's double Yakuhai. Could this even turn into a Toy now that the 3-mon has been paired up?
Great opportunity here for points. Dora is 7-pin. And that'll fit nicely into... Well, Jessa has one in hand, rather.
Yeah, we see Will across the table calling Chi on the 7, so aiming for that 7-8-9 Sanshoku.
Oh, yes. Still has that awkward 4. Picks up an 8.
And of course, Daniel looking very nice for a potential Riichi. Ishan 10 already. Really would love to draw that 6-pin. Only one is seen. Oh, and Will draws the door himself, so that will certainly make the plan easier. Just need to find an 8-mon and you'll be Tempai. And at this point, you're trying to pick your favorite Tanki, because it's going to be a Tanki one way or another. Which tile do you think you'll be able to find? Four pin, maybe not the best one here, because it's been twice discarded already. But you get a little bit worried about holding on to this 5 pin for too long. Oh,
That's right, but there's the 7 Mon.
Daniel just found Tenpai and Daman.
Wow.
Interesting. A direct hit there would have been huge on Orichi, but the Dama, it's still a bit of a gap between the two of them. I'm looking at Daniel's hand and looking at the pair of Yakuhai across the way. Of course, only the green dragon will have value in this case, but could make for a sneaky wait later on.
Yeah, we'll see how that shakes out. Dora is 2 Mon, and we're seeing a couple of pairs in this starting hand. Otherwise, a rather challenging state of affairs for Harrison, should he look to try and lengthen that lead, as it were. Looking out on Will's hand right now, a couple of, one pair there, also a rather challenging starting hand, if I do say so myself. Across, though, we had that early Hatsu call, as you were mentioning, some good Yakuhai opportunity there as far as being able to take this lead. Some good sequences in there as well, along with a pair of the Manzu.
Ooh, another pair. Maybe this turns into Toy Toy.
Yeah, could be. In a perfect world, that's exactly what happens. On the right, though, we have on the left, it's a sequence for Jessa, and a couple sequences, in fact. Some other good shapes here starting to form up, so that could also be a contender in this state.
Yeah, this is a decision point for Daniel across the table. Decides not to greed. Toy Toy a little bit difficult when your pairs are tiles like the 4 Mon and the 7, so decides to just go for the faster hand. Reduce the distance on Harrison a little bit, and perhaps if you can hit him directly. Oh wait, that's to Dora. Forget that. You just want to win this hand.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, direct hit or not, that's gonna definitely take the lead here.
Absolutely. And then Jessa, Ishanten for this Pinfu, Tanyao, Dora 1. Interesting, the 9 pin was the first discard, but now you've drawn the 7-8 pin. So there's a chance you end up Furiten unless you can call the 6 pin or draw into that shape first.
That's right.
Ooh, that's Tenpai, but that's the Furiten Tenpai, so you're going to have to sumo yourself. A little unfortunate, it isn't the 3-4-5 Sanchoku either.
Yeah, but that can just sow enough chaos, perhaps, to get people to kind of back off.
Oh, there's the Ipatsu tile, but of course that won't deal in. But Daniel doesn't know that.
Yeah, see, that's exactly what, maybe Jessa was thinking. Obviously, we can't see into people's minds, but...
And this is such an oh, there's the sumo!
Oh my! There you go. Riichi, Sumo, Pinfu, Dora 1 for 6,200 points.
Not the Takame, but that is a huge pickup for Jessa. A lot of breathing room now. Over 8,000 points. So a direct hit from... I guess a direct hit is a dealer direct hit. So a Mangan will still overtake, but you're a little bit more comfortable now. And you even have a chance at making it over 30k if you're sitting in Jessa's seat.
Absolutely. And I mean, yeah, getting above 30k, I believe, is the primary goal for Jessa in this game right now. But this will take us to all last, South 4. The door is 2 Mon once again. That will fit nice into this dealer's hand here, as Will looks to kind of come out of the rise from the grave here. Well, not quite in the grave, but, get some last-minute progress here. That 1 would also help things if the 2 comes out.
1, 2, 3 Sanchoku chance.
Yes, indeed. That's exactly what I'm seeing. And Daniel, meanwhile... a couple of pairs here. That's really about all I can say. Well, there's a third pair, so got a challenge ahead of him.
I have to say, did we just see an open con from Harrison?
Oh, wow. Yeah, sure did.
From first place, extremely confident in his ability to win the hand. I mean, if you look at it, it's amazing. Yamen, Ishanten. From the start, it looks like 4 straight discards, so... extremely confident that he's going to win this hand and not worry about
Yeah, here's the situation that sets up, though. The new Dora is 9 so, and look at the hand across for Jessa. Got 2 Dora now. This is turning into... I mean, this could definitely shake things up at the top. I mean, that could cost
Jessa were to
Harrison
win
the lead,
something.
perhaps, even.
A Chitoy Dora 2 would be huge, and there's another pair.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, but she's not going for it. She wants a normal hand here.
Interesting call there.
Yeah. Well, Harrison did find Tempai on the 2-pin, 5-pin. Lost the 5-pin in hand, only 1 left in the wall. And the 2-pin is kind of being incorporated as well, so a few more of those in wall to be drawn, though.
Jessa may also be thinking, let me just get to Ricci as quick as I can and take advantage of 2 Uras along with that.
Too.
So...
Oh, there's a 2-pin, and that does not fit in the hand at all.
Good call from Daniel.
Yeah, Chitoy.
Yeah, it could be Chitoy, you're right.
1, 2, 3, 4 pairs. But you've already discarded the 2-pin before, so you're unlikely to keep it even in that case. You'd have to get really lucky and draw the last 2-pin, like, right now.
There's the 3-pin. Yeah, looking to turn that into a sequence now, abandoning the excess pairs.
Yeah, not fighting for Ipeco here. An efficient play is to discard the 8-9 mon there, but we see a Ricci from Will instead. Ricci Pihu, waiting on the 1-4 pin. All the 1s are gone. One of the 4s discarded. So waiting on really just the 4 pin, but you have to take it.
There's only 1 4-pin left in the wall. If I've got that right. Yes.
And now this puts the pressure on Harrison, who made the call, the con earlier. Now only with 2 calls, a few tiles remaining left in hand, so was forced to either basically just push against this or totally break up the hand, and ends up deciding to break it up.
Yeah. An unfortunate call, but had to be made.
Of course, if Will wins this hand, or when we enter Ryukyoku, we'll see another South round.
Back into Tenpai now. Well, again, saying no to it was Harrison, rather.
Yeah, the tile that scared him off was the Dora draw, the new Dora, 9 soul. And that's understandable. You don't want to discard a Dora to do... Oh my goodness, did we just see that happen?
It sure did. The last 4-pin ends up in the dealer's hand, and we are going into extra innings. Getting an Ura, yes. Back to 25,000 points and a chance to stay alive and keep on going here.
Oh, this game has totally changed. Look, Will is in third now. His past Jessa, and has an amazing high by too. Pair of East, a Dora in hand, an Uncle of the Forso. Pairs everywhere.
Wow. I wonder if we'll see a more conservative play from Harrison here, now that he just barely held on to that lead there. I mean, if that was a direct hit.
With a very good hand, though.
Yeah, that is a great hand. Yes, absolutely.
Oh, another great draw. You could easily call this for Tanyao.
Quick Tanyao, just end things before they get out of hand. That's what you want to do right now. The dealer, meanwhile, calling the Easts early on. Just looking to keep up this momentum, I guess. You have 2 pairs and an Anko also in this hand.
Yeah, Ishanten.
Yes, Ishanten. Yes, I mean...
Harrison's draws are so amazing.
Oh, yeah.
This is Ishanten on the left as well.
Getting close. Across the table still has some work. Probably regretting dropping the White Dragon there early on.
Yeah, you never have that info at the start, and it seems you always discard a dragon on your first draw and draw it within the next 3 turns.
Of course. But the rest of that hand is looking pretty nice. I mean, you do have the Anko 7, the sequence in Pinzu, and that's coming together. We have calls now. Calls left and right.
This time, just a pawn.
Just a pawn. Not going for a con this time.
This is Tenpai, the 4-7. We can see that weight's actually not as good as you'd expect, because Jessa is just holding on to all of them.
Yes.
Just has San Anko chance here.
That's true. A San Anko using all the weights, that would just be devastating for Harrison. if she can pull that off. I'm not seeing Sananko now, but probably going
gives
for
that
the
up.
faster option. Just punch back into third.
Tempai versus Tempai. Will's 6'9" weight is starting to get eaten up by Daniel on the right, but currently sitting much better in the wall. 5 tiles left of the 6'9" so weight. Still in the wall. And Jessa found another route to get that. Oh, wait, Toy switch?
Could be for the dealer, yes. 8 mon, 8 so. It's now the weight here for the dealer.
See an 8 mon floating in Daniel's hand.
And there it is! Will staying alive with all pungs and the East Wind as one of them. 3,300 points now. That's going to bring Will to second place and a good easy shot at the lead.
Oh my goodness, what a comeback from Will. From 4th, started this dealership in 4th place.
I always seem to be on the desk when these epic South 4 comebacks happen. And of course, with the rules in this league, even after Will, if Will were to cross into the lead, the game would not be over. Will would still have a chance to keep stacking on points, which in this case would make things very easy, a great easy start for the league, on the leaderboard, rather.
Absolutely.
We see some good pairs so far in this hand, a sequence already locked in. Dora, of course, 7 so, one of those in there. On the right, we see some Manzu starting to shape up here. Almost a sequence, but not quite. We do have a sequence in Pinzu, though, so that could become a Pinfu quite quickly. Across the table in Jessa's hand, looking to recover a little bit here. We do see a sequence locked in, actually 2 of them, with a pair of Easts. And on the left, picking up another pair of the 7 pin there, and some other sequences starting to form up as well.
We saw an interesting decision from Daniel early on. Had the 1 and 9 mon in hand, potential to make an Itsu, but was confronted with a decision whether or not to aim for the Pinfu instead. Chose the Pinfu route, and now has the opportunity to make like Tanyao, Ipeko, Pinfu, Dora 1. There's a ton of possibilities here. We'll need to continue to draw well, of course.
Absolutely.
And it's a little bit of an awkward situation for Jessa. You haven't dealt in at all, but here you are in 4th all of a sudden, and now you have to switch your goals dramatically. At the very minimum, you need to find yourself ahead of Daniel. So you have 3,600 points to make up there. And if you want to make it over 30,000, a Mongon would do the trick.
Probably keeping her options open for that 7 so. She's not seeing that any of them are out yet, but as we can see, 2 of them are residing in hands right now.
With that 3-pin draws, when you see all the tiles cluster like that, it feels nice, but it's actually kind of awkward in this situation. This is Ishanten.
Yes.
The right for Daniel. Just again, another pair drawn. Up to 4 now, I believe. Will this end up being pairs? Really don't want it to.
Meanwhile, we see 7, 8, 9s for Harrison here. Sadly, not in the Sozu, so again, probably just looking for the quickest route to victory that you can, and he's going to call Reach to wait on the 2 so, 5 so.
Snap, reaching there, knew exactly what his plan was if he should draw into Tempai.
Good to plan ahead on that. I think that 2 so in the dealer's hand is pretty much locked in now with that 3 so pickup.
Yeah, in the current situation, any hand will end this game with you in first, so totally fine to take a Ricci here. Daniel finds a chase, but we'll realize it's a lot more awkward than it first appears. 3-pin, 4-pin Shampon.
I think the
5 of your winning tiles
would
already
also
in hand.
work, yes? Wouldn't that also... No, it wouldn't. You're
no,
right.
just the 3-4.
Yes.
Yeah, that... It's a little bit difficult, but neither player has an amazing weight.
I mean, they're holding on to their weights. That's the problem.
Oh, huge. Will was not willing to push the 7, so it didn't look safe at all. So it's going to have to find Tenpai another way.
I think we're seeing Will possibly trying to just let this one go, perhaps.
If he finds a connector to that 7 mod, we might see the 3 so get pushed. It is Suji now. Oh, but the 2 so will come out first.
And Harrison will finally take home this win with Riichi Nomi, but that's 3,900 points with all the sticks in the pot. So
importantly, even with the Honba, that was not enough points to knock Daniel below Jessa. So the positions will remain the same. Harrison in first overall with a plus 24.5. Will retain the second place with a plus 8 after that incredible South 4 comeback. Daniel retains third, negative 10.9. And Jessa with a negative 21.64. That's a very small fourth in this league. A very tight game, all things said, in the given the huge hands that we had.
Mm-hmm. Right, and you can see the standings already updating on your screen through the magic of updated technology here this season.
Yeah, so with that first victory, Harrison will climb into an early third place. Of course, that will change dramatically over the next couple weeks, week and a half now.
Mm-hmm. And already, yes, Harrison and Will already in the promotion zone. Of course, you've got a long way to go to keep that rolling, of course. So, can you see on your end if they've started the next match, if that's coming up in a few minutes?
Sure, let's go ahead and take a look at... Well, I would normally be able to check that for you, but...
Oh.
I'm having some PC issues, so...
Same here. There we go. There's
okay, we'll take a look. It looks like they have begun the match, and it will begin in about 2 minutes.
Gotcha. All right. Well, definitely some crazy action we saw there. It was as I noted going into South 1, it was rather separated, but things all started to come back together. All the players' scores started to get very close again at the end, and it looked like just about anybody had a shot at taking the W there this time.
Everyone was within position to advance one placement from 4th to 3rd, from 3rd to 2nd, and from 2nd to 1st. But in the end, everything stayed the same. Of course, on the screen now, the Summer League leaders. These were the winners of each of the divisions last season. We had some incredibly thrilling Season 6 action. Kenyon pulling it off in A1 as the A1 champion. Placed her name in the among the other two that you see at the bottom of that division. Eric, Hung, Kenyon, and one more player to be determined this season in A1.
That's right.
The remaining players on the screen all advanced from their respective division. In A2, Daniel, Zilong, Kevin, Anthony, and a few others advanced from A2 into the A1 division. And in B1, Michael, Alec, Claire, and Peter, all well-deserved advancements out of B1 and into A2. And then in B2, Matthias, Anya, Riley, and Patrick, among with many others advancing from B2 into B1.
Mm-hmm.
And same story for B3, Leon, Alfred, Jeff, and Tommy were the top scorers there, but I believe there were something like 20, I can't remember the exact number, but over 20 promotions out of B3, right?
Yeah, there was quite a lot. And not very many demotions from B2. I know I was looking at that, and just with the influx of players we had, I managed to stay in B2 this year. But yeah, and definitely really nice seeing Riley there in third there. I mean, he's part of Oklahoma Mahjong like myself, so really nice to see how well he's been doing in just a short time here joining this league. Of course, I can't believe this league's already been going for a whole year, and we're about to crown our 4th seasonal victor here.
It's pretty impressive. To think it only started in January. We're already in the fall semester, fall season.
It's like going to class. This is a fall semester. Because we're all here to learn and get even better at this game. So here we go. East 1, there's the gong. 3 so is the starting Dora here. And our starting dealer is Jessa. Already a sequence or two in this hand, along with a pair of the Chun and some other shapes. This is going to come together quite quickly. This is Ishan-10, I believe, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. That one.
I like the 5-mon here, but just to widen the Ishan-10.
Mm.
But I would really love to make a Sanshoku out of this somehow.
Absolutely. Calling the Chuns early as we continue around the table here. Will, with a couple of pairs already set, some sequences also coming together nicely here. Across the table, I'm immediately drawn to all the honors here, and it looks like Daniel's going to try for a flush here, Honitsu. A good presence of the Banzu here to do that. And calling the Norths, it's not Iyaku, but that's definitely what he's going for now. And on the left, Harrison has a sequence already locked in the Manzu and also the Sozu. 1, 2, 3. I don't think we're going to see that happen with the Pinzu unless, well, really you're just 2 tiles away. So we'll see. More progress on the Honitsu from Daniel, calling 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, Daniel finds the best way of calling that. There are 3 different options.
Mm-hmm. Though if I'm looking at the discards and what he's called, I'm going to start being a little suspicious of these Manzu in my own hand.
Absolutely. The West, yet to be seen. Of course, that would be the Yakuhai that Daniel really wants. Jessa finds a very wide Ishan-10.
There we go. Yeah.
Speaking about Ishan-10, yeah, this has suddenly turned into Tempai for Will, deciding whether or not to take the Shampong weight. Chooses to Dama here. An alternative is to discard one of your pairs, for example, the 5 or the 7 pin, and retain that floating 5 so, and hope to draw around either the 5 so or whatever tile you discard.
I would have almost called Ricci there, just because, the 5 pin was just dropped in this case.
At the very least, Jessa is unlikely to be able to use another one. And that Daniel cannot really use Pinzu either. So there's a lot of temptation to do that. However, perhaps just afraid of healing into the Honitsu. Instead, just a Sumo, and it will not be any Akuhai here, so the Bakahon for Daniel, Chuhan. But that's a pretty good start to this hand. You progress things forward, you prevent anybody from winning their hand, and you get a few points yourself.
Absolutely. Just and getting a flush like that, may not be worth many points, but it'll definitely kind of strike some fear into the other players, coming up with something like that pretty early on. East 2 begins here now. Red Dragon is the Dora this time. Not seeing any of them around the table yet, so we'll see when they show up, just like Game of Thrones. The dealer's hand, meanwhile, Will is the dealer, and we see some great sequences right now. That could turn into a nice little pinfu at this point. Moving around the table to Daniel. Got a couple of pairs locked in, some sequences there as well. Across for Harrison, good pairs there as well, but also a great selection of Manzu. That could turn into a straight pretty quickly. And on the left for Jessa, well, that's going to take some work. You have one sequence, though, in the Manzu, so take that with you and see what happens.
Yeah, this is a really interesting hand for Harrison across the table. Had drawn pretty quickly into Ishan-10 for Ricci Pinfu, has managed to even add a potentially Peiko into the mix, and then continue to draw Mon tiles. There's an opportunity there to think about switching to the Chinitsu, but with the 3 Mon already discarded, perhaps just sticking with the original plan. Oh, we see a Ricci for Daniel.
Wow.
Ricci Nomi, it looks like, just waiting on the 7, but there's going to be a chase, and this is going to be expensive.
Ooh, very nice.
Ricci, Ipeiko Pinfu, waiting on the 4-7, and there's a 4 so immediately drawn into hand for Jessa. This hand's a little bit far away. I'm not sure you are able to fight here. Finds the safe 2 pin for now. And there's a Dora. That is not the tile you wanted to see.
Yeah, there's
on
the
Ipatsu
first
turn.
time it's popping up, too, so... Oh, but there's a
Ipatsu Tsumo, what?
Riichi Ipatsu Tsumo. That'll be all, but... The all is kind of an understatement there. 6,000 points. That's going to be a new leader. Or...
Yeah, when you have that Kanchan weight, you do not expect to get Ipatsu Tsumo on that. But that is a great pickup for Daniel. 2 consecutive wins.
Yes. Not a new leader. I mean, he's expanding on his current lead is what I meant to say.
Great start.
Absolutely. Tuso is the Dora for East 3. And we see one of them in this hand here. With a couple of pairs and some sequences trying to come together at the moment. East would be nice to pick up, but he's got just about every other wind other than that. But we do see East's over in Harrison's hand. Got a sequence starting to come together there in the Pinzu, but around this hand there's sequences trying to come together. It's got a lot to still come together here, though. Jessa, meanwhile, got some good action in the Pinzu right now. A pair and a sequence. And on the left, we see a sequence in the Manzu and in the Sozu. So I think Will's got, well, just early on here, kind of the best shot. Dealer's also a little bit close too, though.
Dealer makes some progress, now drawing into pairs. And that always is a tricky question. Should you switch to Chitoi or not? Now with 5 pairs, you're sort of regretting the discard of the Dora early. Yeah. If you're going to make Chitoi, why not make Chitoi Dora too?
Oh, and there's picking up a South. That would have been another
discarded
pair.
that already.
Yeah.
Oh, it retains it though.
Hmm.
Interesting. So this pretty much is a committal at this point to either a Toy Toy or a Chitoi. Maybe if one of the 6s comes out, either the 6 Mon or the 6 Pin, we'll consider calling, even though the 2 Mon has already been discarded once. We have yet to see the Haku or the West.
Still hanging on to the South despite the last one coming out. I guess that's a guaranteed safe tile should you need it.
Bones galore.
Yeah, it's Pawn City up in here. Harrison now getting closer.
This is Tempai.
Oh, for Jessa, yes.
It's a pair weight. Which one do you like?
She likes the East. I would have to agree. Well...
Yeah, there is that thing where...
I don't know, it's... That's
the
a
East
tough
can
choice.
be used by anyone. The West,
right.
For Yaku, the West can only be used by yourself. But then people might be expecting you to need the West.
Yeah.
For that reason. So that's kind of tricky. No call, by the way, on the Haku or the West from Daniel. So this is 100% a Chitoi committal with a safe tile being retained as well.
Mm-hmm. Keep that till the very end. Just drop it and go for whatever your other pair needs to be.
There's an opportunity for Harrison to chi the 7 7 Mon and perhaps move towards Honitsu, but couldn't really discard the 7 pin against these 2 calls. For all Harrison knows, this is Shinitsu.
Dropping the East, switching to North across the table here for Jess.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense, and this will give Harrison the opportunity to push for Toy Toy. Toy Toy East.
And look at how the North is right now. Only once cut, and it's pretty early on in the hand, but North looks safe right now. Especially coming to Jessa here.
Daniel willing to discard the 5 pin. Harrison willing to discard the 8 pin. And Jessa will make the call to switch to Shinitsu, but all the 8 pins are gone now. So you can't actually win on this.
And she should know that.
Oh, she knows at this point,
right.
And will be
looking for some way to swap it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, this is actually Tempai for Will, but
does he
really want to fight this? He does.
He is.
Waiting on the door.
Wow.
No one can use it. So if these players push, it will be dealing in.
No one
if
can
they push
use
the
it?
door, that is.
Yeah. And the door is nowhere to be found.
This is Tempai for dealer. Will Dama on the
There's
2
the Tuso. Deciding
Harrison
not to play it. Good call.
Bails. And now Jessa needs to swap this out. I believe there are 9 pin remaining.
Decided not to. It's probably looking too dangerous now. Just coast to Tenpai. Rather to the draw, I should say.
Actually, 8-pin was safe against the Ricci, so
Oh, that's
it made a
true.
lot of sense.
Yeah. Still hanging on to it despite picking up the 5-pin, though, so...
Yeah, perhaps just
There's
hasn't
something
noticed
else
it yet.
she's worried about.
We see dealer retaining Tenpai on the 7-pin now. Swapping away from the 2-pin. There are actually no 7-pin in the wall. Both are in Harrison's hand. And Harrison's kind of running out of tiles. At least you know the 9-pin is safe. And we'll need to find one more tile to pass safely. The east should be good enough.
Well, that'll be
Three
going
players
to the draw.
Tenpai. What a hand. That was wild.
Harrison giving up 3,000 points, but we'll continue on with East 3. Dora is north as we start things off here. This dealer hand looking okay, not great. You have some buddy tiles. Everyone's pretty much buddied up here, so you can make stuff with that should their third partner show up. For Harrison right now, a few pairs in the hand at the moment. Good presence of the Pinzu. Might be able to dump the rest and just go for that if the wall works with you. Across the table, Jessa has a few pairs. Oh, 5 pairs already.
Yeah.
And picking up an Anko of the 3-mon, so options definitely kept open here, but could swerve into Tenpai on Chitoi very easily.
Ooh, commits to Chitoi.
Oh,
I kind of like angling towards Suanko even. It's really early, but this is definitely the most efficient path to finding Chitoi, to just retain all the pairs. And of course, there's a door north in hand. You'd love to draw that as your pair. So I don't think that's ever leaving anytime soon.
Yes, I think Jessa is just right now looking to stay above 30k. As she found out in the last one, going under it is negative score, so you want to stay up. Let's look at Will's hand, though. Take a look at this. Good shapes in the Sozu already, and in the Pinzu, so that can turn to something rather quickly here, though. Now the other players are picking up speed. Oh, there's another Anko for Jessa.
Three mon already came out.
Yeah. Sadly, a bit late to change your mind, but we'll see.
You can redraw the 3 mon.
That is true.
There is still no wall.
That is very true.
You'd love to see it. I think once you make the decision once, it's best to stick with it. And I wonder if will... Oh, well, just draw it. That's the second
there
time.
You go.
Yeah, on the Haku as well.
Wow. Haku's for Will here. 3 and 6 is the weight tiles here. Of course, as we can see, there's an Anko of the 3s in here, but if Jess is going to commit to this Chitoi, one of those 3-pin has to come out, so we'll see how this plays out. 2 of the 6s are seen.
Exactly. Only 2 6-pin in the wall to be drawn. Ooh. That's interesting, but there's just still little information for Jessa. It's kind of hard to...
And the 2 is safe.
Yeah, exactly. It's your only safe tile, I believe.
That would be right. So Jessa definitely playing cautious here. Let's see what the dealer does with that 7. That can improve this shape.
Definitely an indication the dealer wants to push a little bit here. 8 mon, 6 mon, not entirely safe.
Whereas, now. For Will. Oh yeah, and that makes the new Dora is 6 mon, and that makes Daniel's hand a whole lot more expensive.
Yeah, decides maybe I'm not going to discard the 6 mon after all, and draws what would have been a completed shape with the 7 mon. Had you retained the 8 mon, but of course, at the time it was efficient to discard that.
Yeah. Con for flow. The question is, whose flow is it?
Oh no, this is Tenpai, and I have the feeling
there goes the 3. In both cases, it was a matter of dropping the dangerous tile on getting Tenpai. So There you have
A
it.
very rare 2 and
The very rare what now? I believe you cut out a little bit there. Okay, I believe some technical difficulties on Nathaniel's end. I was having some myself. Oh, are you there?
Hey, I think I lagged out a bit.
Yeah, we can hear you now, though. Okay, you were telling
Perfect.
us.
I was just saying 2 and 70, a pretty rare hand.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as we move on to East 4 now, Dora is 4 so. We see one of those in this dealer's hand as Harrison takes the mantle. Good shapes in the Sozu here. A good shape forming up in Pinzu at the moment. Got a pair of Wests here, should that come in handy. Looking at Jessa's hand right now. A good sequence in the Sozu right now, as well as the Pinzu. Across the table, we see a lot of Sozu up in Will's hand right now. Good sequences, a couple of pairs. It looks nice, but I think this might have some difficult decisions down the road. We'll see how that keeps going. And Daniel, also a rather difficult place to start, but 3 pairs, that could turn to something.
Yeah, dealer 2-way for Richie Dora 1. It's not a bad spot to be, even if one of your weights is a Kanchan. That early reach is still very strong. Although now 2, those 8-mon being drawn across the table in Will's hand. Now that hand definitely looks like the one to beat. Even with all the pairs, it doesn't necessarily need to be Chitoy. There's 2 Dora in that hand. You might even think about opening this into a Tanyao, depending on how your draws shape up.
Jessa calling the 2 so. Looking like a quick Tanyao here. Just looking to get above 30k at the start here. Anko of 7 so picked up by Harrison now.
Yeah, I was wondering if Harrison would make this play. You can think of that as a 6, 7, 8 shape and a pair of 7. So just kind of swapping things around. Maybe end up finding Tanya on top of things if you can draw the 6-mon.
Intriguing hand. You aren't super invested in those honors at this point, so... And that 9 could go pretty easily. There goes the West.
Yeah, interesting, still retaining the East, even though the West is much safer. I'm perhaps concerned with the possibility that somebody has paired up the East at this point and doesn't want to allow that hand to progress.
Will calling the 6, 7, 8 here. Also probably looking for Tanyao. When you got 2 Dora, it's definitely a winning proposition. Especially if you find that 5 so, as you mentioned.
Harrison definitely showing concern over this East, discarding the 5-pin, which is slightly less efficient in order to be able to retain it in hand.
Daniel here. Those Pinzu are looking even better.
I think we're going to see a Chi here. And that will make fix the shapes in the Sozu.
That'll be
Earlier,
10 pi for Jessa, though. Waiting on the 7
right,
so and the 4.
Yeah, earlier there's some issue. Will might have had to discard a Dora to find 10 pi, but this way it gets to retain all the shapes. Now, there are no more 2 so left, so it does need the 5. So I guess in that sense, the Chi didn't help that much, but... In a normal situation, when there are 2 so left, then it certainly does.
Right.
Oh, and there's 10 pi. But the 5 so, there's only 1 left in the wall.
Yeah. Waiting on the 2 so as well, but that's been called. But there's the 7 so for Jessa. All simples here, just 1,000 points. A simple score, but that brings you closer to that all-important 30k line as we head into the half.
I think that deal-in just is a look into Harrison's mindset there that the East was never going to leave the hand, I think.
Yeah. Still a very close game, as you can see. Just really not even a mangans of difference between any of these players here. The Dora is 9 mon. We see that in this hand. A couple of pairs, though, that you can actually use. Actually make that 3 pairs. Over on Will's end, we see a pair there as well. Some sequences trying to come together. Oh, there's another sequence already set. But the rest of the hand does need some work to come to fruition here. Daniel across, a couple pairs in the honors for South and White. The South is the prevailing wind, of course. And on the left, for Harrison, a sequence and a pair in the Manzu. Sadly, not much else.
Yeah, one of those hands where everyone's kind of starting 3, 4 Shanten. Nobody with an amazing...
No one with a real
breakout. Just jumping out.
And that's might be why we saw Daniel go ahead and call the South, just to get something going here. Granted, you are in the lead, so it's kind of your best interest to just keep things going, though you're not that far away from second at this moment.
We saw Daniel start with the 4 mon, indicating he was thinking Chanta, and it has been continuing to press for that, although now having called the South, and perhaps even calling the Haku should have come out, you don't need Chanta anymore. You have a 2 Han hand that you can win.
In the best case, you even ditch the Manzu and go for a Honitsu at this point.
Yeah, it's a distinct possibility, although perhaps a little bit late for that now.
Well, yeah, there you go. The Pinzu kind of maturing here. There's the White Dragon now. Yeah, it's definitely...
Oh, maybe I'm mistaken.
Oh.
So either that was a misclick, or Daniel is really committing to this Chanta.
Chanta with South and White. That'd be 3 Han right there.
And perhaps even if Daniel draws any other Pinzu tile, would be willing to switch to a potential Honitsu, maybe?
Yeah. The challenge here is finding that pair, as you kind of gave it up with the Haku. Oh, but I didn't even notice that. It was the 8 mon there.
Just got into Tenpai for the Tanya. Tanya will end it.
Quick jab from Harrison as we head into South 2, punching the clock and keeping us moving here. Still in 4th place, but definitely, only 7,800 points from the leader. Definitely has a shot. This is still anyone's game at this point.
Not willing to call the Haku just yet. We'll see if he calls it when it leaves Will's hand.
Well, what could he be thinking here? Perhaps Oh, there it is.
Maybe realizing that, 1,000, 2,000 might not be enough just yet. Wants to...
keep the hand closed?
But when the second one comes out, I think you have to... you're either committing to the discarding the Haku or using it as your pair, or you just go for it.
Yeah, I think that's what you do. You just go for it. Dealer's hand, meanwhile. Well, we have a sequence in the Pinzu and a pair in the Manzu. Sadly, a couple other pairs, but not much else to help you out here. I would be looking for that other South to maybe keep your dealership a bit longer so you get that higher point hand. Daniel, meanwhile, picking up lots of Sozu, having to put some back with a pair in the Manzu and a couple of sequences forming up here. Harrison picking up that East. It's not a Yaku, but you have the Haku for that.
There's a lot of food there. And now might even end up entertaining thoughts of shifting into a Honitsu in the Dora suit.
Yes, that's true.
Ooh. Yeah, keep that South.
Yeah, there we go.
Over the 9, so there's a chance you might end up using it.
Jessa might be... Well, I was going to say angling towards Tanyao, but you still have some potential with this hand using the 9s in both of those suits. The one's coming back. She's deciding to keep it this time. And the dealer picks up that Anko South. With a good couple of sequences to form around it. So that's certainly looking competitive here now.
To the right, Daniel's found Ishanten, a perfect Ishanten for Pingfu.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's really hoping that he draws a 6-pin before he finds Tenpai. Of course, you want Tenpai.
Of course.
How about a
Six
little
pin would, give you some time.
intermezzo?
We got dealer Tenpai. Speaking of 1 mon 7 so, and we've got Tenpai for Daniel as well. Gonna throw in the stick, and he'll be waiting on 9 and 6 mon.
Now the question will be posed to Will: do you chase with the Champon weight, or do you stay Dama? Could even switch to the 3 so and discard the safe 7 so.
Discarding the 7 so.
3 so has been discarded by the Ricci player, so it is again put to discard.
And now across the table, Harrison waiting on the south now as a Tonki wait. Of course, as we can see, dealer has all the souths right now. And even so, I don't really see anybody dropping them this late in the game, especially with none other dropped. But that doesn't matter.
There's the Tsumo Ricci, Tsumo Pingfu.
3,700 points for Daniel.
Increase the lead a little bit more. Now 36-6 as we enter South 3. We'll accept the dealership as well. Oh, yes. I love the starting hand.
Very nice starting hand. You see a few sequences here. You have that Sanshoku chance, perhaps. You'd have to make the Sozu work out, but that's not outside the realm possibility.
This is Ishanten.
Oh, already, yes.
Turn 1.
Harrison, meanwhile, this hand is pretty far from Ishanten. You do have a sequence in 1, 2, 3, but that's about it. You have a lot of wins and a lot of tiles rather spaced out.
In the meantime, dealer just draws a Dora. It's now perfect Ishanten.
Yes, 2 pin the door right now. One of them in Jess's hand as well, and that's part of one of 2 sequences right now. Some other sequences coming together there as well. And Will has 5 pairs actually. Ishanten to Chitoi now. So this is, except for Harrison's hand, unfortunately, we have some very big contenders for the points here in South 3.
Yeah, no matter who gets there first, and usually the hand that's in perfect Ishanten will draw into Tenpai faster than the one that is going for Chitoi.
Yeah, but that can all change. It's really, Chitoi's like a roulette. You're just waiting on that one of your numbers to come up. 3, 4, or 5 mon in this case, but
dealer gets there first.
1 or the 4 for the weights here. And there's a 1 picked up by Will. Will he drop it? He does!
Yes.
Deals in with Ricci Ipatsu Dora 1 for 87.
That's expensive.
Yes. Not quite a Mongon, but it'll feel like one.
Mm-hmm.
Especially picking up that Ricci stick back out of the pot. And as we continue with South 3, a great looking hand here for the dealer once again. You got 2 Dora 6 pin, just picking up a 9 pin. You have some Sozu that are just kind of laying there doing nothing. You could probably throw them out, but he's going to see what happens with them. Not just quite. On the right, I'm seeing a couple of pairs and a sequence locked in. Actually, 4 pairs now. So we could see another Chitoi run, perhaps. Across Jessa, this is going to be a little bit more difficult to maneuver with. You do have some shreds of a good hand here, but it's going to take some work to really get it going. And on the left for Will, we have a good sequence in the Sozu. Other sequences starting to form up here as well. Yeah, for the Manzu also.
Dealer continuing to draw well. 3 diamond shapes, 2 away from Tenpai. That 2 Dora as well. It doesn't have the ability to call.
Good pickup on that 7 so for Daniel. 7 pin.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting actually. That gives the opportunity for Daniel to switch into a Pinfu. And that's exactly what happens.
There
That
we
9
go.
pin Anko is starting to be broken up here.
Hmm. We're also seeing some incorporation of the Dora into Will's hand right now. Needs one more to finish that sequence off.
2 away from Tenpai, but really, Harrison's probably the second closest here. Well, now you've built a Sanmanchan, so you can drop one of your pairs.
Gonna drop the 8-mon.
Interesting call from Jessa. So this is an angle for Itsu. Open Itsu, because 1,000 points is enough to get Jessa to that 30,000 mark.
Absolutely.
She's
been trying that for quite some time.
Yeah. It seems like all game long.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel draws 1 tile closer to Tenpai. This is perfect. Hishanten once again can accept a 3rd Dora into hand for Tenpai. You draw the 6-pin, declare Ricci with the 3-pin.
Sadly, that's probably not going to happen, at least not without opening up this hand.
Very good point. We see the other 2 Dora in other hands at the moment. Oh, that 5-so is actually an awkward draw here. You don't want to end up on a Champon 5-so, 6-so weight. But for now, we'll retain the maximum efficiency. If you can draw a 4-so or a 7-so, you'll consider discarding the 3-mon, 4-mon, using the 5-mon as your pair, and trying to grab another 4 or 7-so for the Ipeco.
Meanwhile, another Manzu call from Jessa. Might be thinking she's going for a Manzu heavy hand, but not quite. But we've got Tenpai now for the dealer. Waiting on the 6 or the 9-so.
Ricci, Pinfu, Dora 2 is a Mongon minimum. This is going to be a huge hit.
Yeah, this
Anybody were to deal in. 7-mon is not
safe,
but Jessa is running out of tiles.
Absolutely. Yeah, already triple-digit separation now, and that's just going to get more and more should Daniel convert on this.
Only 2 6-so left in the vault. This is Tenpai, but can you really fight here? You cannot. And a Sumo. Oh, goodness.
We'll check Ricci, the Ura. Sumo, Pinfu, Dora 2. No Ura, but that'll be 13,000 points. 13,300, rather. For a very expensive dealer's Mongon. And now the complexion of this game has changed. 56,600.
At this point, Daniel is pretty much locked up first place. And really, it's on Jessa, the only real contender for getting over 30,000 at this moment. We still have South 4 to come, so you can take 2 steps if you are Will or Harrison.
That'd have to be some pretty deep stabs, though.
Oh, Harrison might have a shot, though. Look at his hand on the right.
Yes. Check that out. Chun already. Anko. You also have the South. That could also become more points. You have a pair of the 5-pin. You could jettison if necessary and go for a rather expensive Honitsu. The Dora is 3-mon, though, and that's where your value is going to be, though. That's going to take precedence over pretty much anything else you've got going on here right now.
Oh, here's the first question. Oh, doesn't Creed. Suanko was an opportunity as well if Harrison was really greedy.
And that would definitely get you back in the lead.
Exactly. Still choosing a fairly aggressive route. Oh, going for the double south as well. Honitsu, double south Chun. Depends on what gets paired. If you can pair another tile up.
Yeah, that's gonna be the rub here. I mean, there's still early on. You still have plenty of chances to get that pair. But there goes one of them from Daniel dropping it.
Yeah, this is a Hanemon.
Oh, wow. Harrison winding up something pretty fierce here. And you see some shades of it.
Yeah. Oh! That 6 was going to get pulled anyway, but Jessa now really killing Harrison's chances here.
I think Jessa might sense what's going on, and she's going to try to shut this down with these calls. be Hatsunomi at the moment.
Yeah, Harrison cannot use Sozu tiles, so will feed into Jessa. Should he draw them? Here's one of them.
She calls it, going just as aggressively as Harrison is right now. And now she's Tenpai on the 5 and the 8-so.
3 of which remain in the wall. 2 8-so, 1 of the 5-so. That's Tenpai for Harrison, probably waiting on the north here. Paired up in Daniel's hand, and once in Will's hand.
There's still a north out there, though. And it's...
Oh, no, there.
Oh, no, that's right,
it's
not. Yeah, it's been drawn. That's... There it goes. I said it's about to come out. Oh, there's the Hanemon. Chun, South, double South, half flush, Dora 2 for 12,600 points. And that's going to further change the complexion of this game, sending Harrison above that 30k mark, heading into all last.
Well, I had said Jessa had the best chance, but little did I know Harrison was about to build a monster, and here we are in South 4. Harrison.
Speaking of monsters,
yeah,
this could easily turn into one again. You already have a Dora.
That's another Dora. If you pair that up, that's huge.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to say, if you look at just one half of this hand, you look at another Suanko chance, but I don't think that's going to happen with the rest of this unless the wall starts getting very cooperative. Jessa, meanwhile, that's a pretty good hand as well. Nothing to sneeze at. Now, you have some sequences in the Manzu, a pair in the Pinzu. Well, nothing to sneeze at, but still some work to be done there.
Mm-hmm.
Across the table, Will, already a sequence locked in. Some pairs as well. And on the left for Daniel, we see 3, 4 pairs right now. So, definitely, though, Harrison's got kind of a lead on everybody right now. But things are looking a little bit better in Jessa's hand as we continue, so...
When you are Ishanten and everyone else is at least 2 away.
Yeah.
Definitely an advantage. The awkward tile, of course, being the 7-pin here for Harrison. Might even consider retaining that 4-so over something like the 8-mon, but...
There goes another one of your 7-pin. There's the other one as well. Yeah. You might need to start thinking of a different game plan here, but there's Sananko.
Well, this is Sananko confirmed.
Literally 3 right there.
I guess you don't need the 7 anymore when you just draw pairs of everything. Anankos.
Yeah, maybe you get the 8-pin.
This is Tenpai.
Oh, wow.
You can Dama too.
Yeah. Waiting on the 8-pin now. Mongon, absolutely. And that 8-pin... Yeah.
Not this time. Yeah, Sananko Dora too.
And that 8-pin not really sitting too tightly in Jessa's hand right now.
No,
ooh, that might come out now. And there it is!
Oh, it is so sneaky. You're never expecting it.
Harrison picking up another 12 grand.
This Harrison competing for first now.
Absolutely. Here we go. Do not adjust your set, folks. This game is not over yet. South 4, with the Dora being 4-pin. We see another one of those in this hand. It's not quite as monstrous as that last hand, but you already have some very compelling-looking sequences in that Pinzu suit. A pair of the East as well. You can pick up a quick Yaku with that just to stay alive and get another shot. Jessa, meanwhile, has a few pairs going on in this hand. Still going to need some work to keep that going. Across the table, great Manzu pickups here. Take a look at that. That's already looking great.
Will needs a big hand, so might just go all out for the Chinitsu.
There we go, and you can very easily do that this time. And Daniel, with a good sequence forming up, a couple of pairs, has some work to do. Not a whole lot of value as of yet, but you don't need that value. You just need to find a quick win here.
I think you might see a pull. Atozuka is always a little scary, but yeah, Harrison goes for it. We'll wait for the East to come out. East to Dora 2.
And there's the East.
Oh, this is Tenpai. Wow. And another
Just like
sneaky
that.
weight.
1
One
and
four
4.
so good.
And now the question, does Will start calling to get this Chinitsu going?
Yeah, you're limiting the value a little bit, but if you can find a Sanshoku or incorporate an Itsu somehow, then you can turn that into Hanemon again.
And get it back into third easily. Just to mitigate this damage here and not lose quite so many points. And the calling only continues here for Will.
So Will really needs a 5 here. Now, if Harrison is greedy, like super greedy, he drops the 3 so there and waits Champon for the door. But this is the better way.
Oh, there you go. East Wind
There's
door
no need to
2.
greed.
And
Yeah,
now
just unlucky for Will to draw that. There was nothing he could do there.
just 6,400 points from the lead now as Harrison continues this reign in South 4. Dora is 9 pin. We see a couple of sequences already in this hand. It's going to be another quick one here for Harrison.
Yeah, 2 away from Tenpai.
Yeah. And picking up another pair. So lots of possibilities here. Jessa's got some pairs of her own, though. And that could turn into Ipeco pretty quickly as well.
He shot 10.
Oh, wow. Harrison just making leaps and bounds here.
Not even the easiest discard here. Chooses to angle for the pair in the Pinzu. Actually, this is very wide. You could make your pair a lot of different things. Could be 1-4-7 pin. Could be the 2-5. So nice discard.
Absolutely. Looking across at red zone, we see, well, picking up another sequence there. Otherwise, I was going to say this hand is not looking too great. Still has a lot of work ahead of it, though. And Daniel, well, we have a sequence and some pairs right now. A couple sequences, in fact. So Daniel might just have what it takes, to snatch the win quickly here. Definitely looking for that. You don't want to risk having to go another round with Harrison at this point.
Yeah, and thinking about that 2-pin discard, I wonder if maybe the 4-pin was slightly better because then your Samanchan is the 2-5-8, which is a guaranteed Tanyo.
But
it's a small thing. This
the
worked out a lot
pin
better
anyway.
Does
When you get draws like this, it doesn't really matter.
Not even declaring the Ricci wants more. So
and just be sneaky, you know. It's just sneaky. No 7 Mon out there yet. We do see 1 in the hand.
And Jessa could very easily discard that.
Yeah, because it is sitting
It doesn't
by itself.
really fit, even if you draw the 6 Mon.
I think if she gets the 3 Mon, it's coming out. Oh, there's the 2 Mon. That could even come out now. Goes with the 3 So instead.
There are pairs in that hand.
Absolutely.
The door as well. Would you love to pair up? None of the other hands nearly as fast as this dealer Tenpai. Still 3-7 Mon left in the wall. Finally, the Dora comes out of Will's hand. Of course, he'll want to retain that for as long as possible. Hope to make use of it. Okay, you can switch your weight here. Well, at least it's one pin, 4-pin, 8 Mon.
Yeah.
But one of the 8 Mon already discarded. You have all the 4-pin, 2 of the 2.
But there's the 7.
Yeah, I think this is totally fine. And once again, Jessa will
deal in.
Advance. Oh, I guess last time it was Will.
Oh, that's right, yes.
The dealership will continue, and Harrison keeps charging forward. It felt like Daniel had first place locked up after that huge hand earlier. But Harrison's
this
just
isn't over.
outside range.
Absolutely. This hand is looking a little bit slower, but you already have a sequence locked in, and another pair pick up here. So it definitely has some teeth in it. We'll see what happens. Jessa looking for some way to just shut down this madness.
Oh, this is Ishanten already. Ricci, Tanya, Dora 1.
Yes. Are you talking about Jessa?
Jessa, yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
With a huge, very wide weight.
This could be the hand that shuts things down, secure a stronger third place, perhaps.
Calls all over the place. We saw the Hatsu to the left as Daniel tries to speed up this hand and prevent Harrison from taking this over. But Harrison gets the Haku right back and enters Tenpai on the 4-7.
Wow.
So
This is a race, ladies and gentlemen. 4 and 7.
Daniel not far behind Ishan 10 with a very wide weight. 6 pin doesn't help though.
8 almost completes it.
1 tile off.
Yeah.
Oh, 2 pin isn't quite what you're looking for if you are Jessa. It does improve the Ishan 10 slightly. And the wrong Monzu. Oh, that is Senpai. The 2 pin did help.
Now Jessa's
see
got
the
a stake
Ricci.
in this race.
Will be the same weight as the dealer. Ricci Tanya
Interesting.
Dora 1.
A double roan situation. That would be the best option for Jessa. If both she and Harrison calls roan, then, I mean, Harrison still gets points. He's still going to probably take the lead, but Jessa gets another shot to save more, mitigate the damage from this 4th place.
Interesting from Daniel's perspective whether to fight or fold. Has a couple of saved tiles, and now we'll discard the 2 Mon, which is completely safe to the Ricci. Still Ishanten though.
Red zone.
Cannot find that Tenpai draw though. And the tiles that Harrison has been discarding haven't been too dangerous. All terminals and honors and Genbutsu.
Absolutely. Well, there's Will calling now. Looked like he was a little unsure if he wanted to chase, but you kind of have to when you're at 300 points left.
Maybe hoping at least to make it to Tenpai before Ryukyoku.
Would like to pick up the 3 pin there in that shape. Dora, of course.
It is lacking a pair, but the 3 pin, and you grab a 2 pin or another 5. Oh, there's the winning tile.
7, and yeah.
That's the double roan tile. It's kind of amazing there are still, even after that, 5 winning tiles left in the wall.
None of them are really coming out except for that.
Daniel keeps dancing around, still Ishanten. Oh, wait, actually gave up the 4 Mon, so no longer Ishanten. Yeah, was afraid of the 7 pin.
Still just
also not willing to discard the 7 pin just yet.
Only 12 tiles left. This weight is rather elusive for both of these players.
A Dora comes out, but that will not deal in. Yeah, Will's giving it up, trying to play bail out safely here.
Yeah, don't want to go below 0. Especially with a dealer reach. Another Dora drawn. Everything but this weight is coming out.
Let's check this last tile.
It's 8.
5 out of 14 tiles
are in the dead wall.
How is that even possible?
Oh my goodness. That is insane.
And they have the same weight. They're looking at each other and thinking, how did neither of us win that?
Yeah. I mean, they got to be laughing right now, both of them. I mean... Well, anyway, still no lead for Harrison.
Yeah.
He's just on the very edge, just about as close as you can get without going over at this point. Calling the Hatsu early because he just wants to be done with this already.
And maybe we'll see the same from Will, calling the tune.
Wow, absolutely. Yeah, and he's now below 0, unfortunately. But Harrison here could get an easy Honitsu. What's that?
Yeah. Just saw a pair up of the west across the table from Will, so this could turn into an expensive hand. A Honitsu, something involving honors.
Yeah.
Yeah,
also, keep in mind, 9 Mon is the Dora. That's what Harrison's got a pair of right now.
Yeah, so this dealer hand is not just a cheap one either.
Oh, absolutely. No, that's why he called the Hatsu that early. You just want to drive this home.
Oh, it just keeps getting amazing draws.
Yeah, again, Harrison's just had amazing luck with the draw tonight.
And I think Will's made up his mind. It's going to be a So Honitsu. Maybe you get Toy Toy on top of it.
Yeah. Jessa's no slouch, though, with this hand here, especially picking up another sequence. Could be Sanshoku if you shift that Manzu down a peg. Actually, it will be Sanshoku if you do that, but it could also be Sanshoku Chanta, even.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, we've got here. Will really on the run here. Chun, west, and east.
How sick would a north draw be?
That would be insane. That would launch this hand to the stratosphere. It'll have to be the last north, though.
10-5 for Harrison, though.
There we go, 5 and 8, but also 10 pi for Jessa. We have another race on our hand. Oh my gosh!
Free 10 pi.
Oh my god.
5-8 mon for Harrison. It's just the 3 so Sanso for Jessa. And Will has the chance to change the weight here. Will he stick with a Toy Toy? Oh, actually, both of the north are cut. I missed the first discard.
Right.
So, yeah, it does switch to the weight that's more likely to win.
Which is the 3 and the 6.
So 2 players waiting on the Sanzo, and...
Yeah. They all look locked up, except for that 6 coming out from the Ricci.
Is this enough to change position?
It is. Mongon. It's going to pretty much swap places with Jessa there as Will walks out of here with a very hard-fought 3rd place. Sadly, still losing 25 points, but still, it could have been a lot worse.
And Daniel escaping with the 1st place after that monstrous comeback from Harrison in South 4. That's the 2nd time we had a player come back in South 4 and go on an extended streak to finish in 2nd place.
But still, Harrison leaving with 54,000, getting 29 points on the board. That's still an impressive first night here in the league.
Absolutely. And of course, Daniel will be extremely pleased with a plus 40.1 game. Plus 40s are really hard to come by in this league. So what a great result. And Will be very pleased to have made the choice to give up on the Toy Toy and switch to the 3-6 so weight. And for Jessa, a little bit unlucky losing that coin flip at the end.
That's what it was. It was a 3-sided coin flip.
Yeah,
3-sided.
One of those players was going to win. There was the 2 monster hands, and then Jessa's could have been a monster depending on Uda, but ended up being Will who came out the winner in that round.
Absolutely crazy game here. It was again one of those that was kind of separated, but in this case it was just the 1st and 2nd and then 3rd and 4th coming together. But then we did see Harrison kind of jump from one group to the other, and that's kind of what happened there. Still, great game all around. Great job to all the players tonight. They will be calling it out for now, I believe, as we head on back to see other games happening in the league. I believe there is a A1 game already in progress, as well as another B3. We did promise you we'd go to the A1 game, so let's go to that right now. Already in progress, started about, just earlier this hour. So about
it should be pretty close to the conclusion.
Yes, South 3 right now. Just a moment.
Yeah, as you throw a refresh in there, the very pretty Tenho/4.
Absolutely, it fits nicely with this theme too. Let's get us to the dealer here.
Very interesting hands here. Looks like Kenyon is our current dealer with 12,800 points. Hoping to go on a bit of a streak here, but is in a little bit of trouble as Toyman, looks like Vince across the table, is progressing to this very fast South Dora 2 hand. And of course, Kenyon with the Peiko, Ishan 10, wants to make use of that Dora 5 so. If she does end up needing to discard it, though, I imagine we might even see a call from Vince for that Mongon. And of course, we are updating the names so that you can see everyone who's playing right now. Kenyon, our dealer. The right would be Shu. Across the table, Vincent. And the left we have Arthur, aka Korak.
That's what we call him, Korak. It's weird to call him Arthur at this point.
Yeah, right. It really does feel that way. And yeah, for me, the action is paused, but I'm sure our viewers will
my
be able to see
apologies.
exactly what's happened.
Here we go. Sorry, we missed the end result of that hand, but we are now in South 4. Again, the tail end of this game we're joining in now. As Zuli here, I believe that's Zu, is currently in a rather strong third place, just above 30k, and could easily take the first. I mean, if you could see Harrison making quite a comeback like we did in the last game, definitely not outside the realm of possibilities here this time.
Absolutely not. Oh, there we go.
Is it unfrozen now?
It is, with the pair east
I'm
in
sorry.
hand, able to make the call and speed up the hand a little bit. Also a chance at the Peiko, if you can draw a d4 pin. I have a very nice starting hand as dealer. I'd be extremely pleased with this. To the right, though, look at all of these shapes. Pair of 6-mon, pair of 7-mon, Anko of 3-pin, and a pair of 1-pin. I want to build something like a Toy or a Suhanko, but now that you've drawn the 8-mon, now maybe just make an Ipeiko door too, and declare Ricci with that, as it's Ishanten all ready for Vince. Across the table, Korak is building into what looks to be a Tanyao Pingfu, potentially Peiko. Of course, you want to make use of that Dora. Ooh, now we have Itsu chances. This is Ishanten as well. For the Itsu, I think you just dropped the 1-so here. And then to the left, we have what looks to be a Honitsu brewing. The Dora will leave Kenyon's hand and will be building towards the pin tiles. And of course, it is imperative that Kenyon, if not fighting for a placement improvement, at least mitigate some of the damage that's been done earlier in this game. Very unlikely that Kenyon will be able to pass someone up here unless she's able to build this hand closed. However, even just winning 4,000 points or 8,000 points and reducing the number of points that you'll lose at the end of the game is an important will make an important difference by the end of the season. And interestingly, we saw Korak choose to call the 8-pin and open the hand up. Wants to end this game in first place, so we'll sacrifice the value for the sake of speed here.
I'm thinking Kenyon's going flush or bust here. I mean, looking at this hand right now.
And with one call, I wonder if we'll see Shu also call as the dealer. We haven't seen the East come out just yet. Kenyon, of course, holding on to one of those tiles. And we see Tempai as Korak calls in the 4-mon. So it will be a 4-pin, 7-pin weight.
To secure this lead.
1.
Yeah. 4 or 7. All the 7s locked up in this Pinzu hand coming together.
3 4-pin left in the wall.
Meanwhile, Zu, that's some pretty good progress here as well with those sequences, possibly Peiko.
The East finally comes out because Kenyon is drawing Pinzu like nobody's business.
Yeah. Sometimes you just feel like the chosen one. Zu deciding not to call that East, though.
Interesting. Yeah, this is Ishanten without the call, and you can declare Ricci, but I'm starting to get worried that you might need those tiles. You might need the speed of being able to call. Opportunity to swap the weight, but Korak will not take it. Instead chooses the Katagiri.
Oh, and there you get the East anyway. Yeah. But the 8 does look a little dangerous.
Wants to be able to make use of this Dora, it looks like. Maybe even wait Dora Tonki. There's the dangerous 4-pin.
Gonna incorporate that into the hand, though. Drop the 1 instead, which gets called for Pone, and now we are ready for Chinitsu.
But Shu's found Tempai. Now, if you drop the 8 and doesn't just choose to do so...
Waiting on the 4 or the 7 yet again. Again, it's a 2 players on the same weight scenario. But all the 7s are already spoken for. Well, except for 1. There were only 8 tiles left. Could this be just like what we saw where all of the weights for both players are in the wall somewhere? The dead wall,
Well,
I
at
mean.
least it would be a little less ridiculous if 2 tiles were in the dead wall, but 5.
True,
5
true.
was absolutely
The 5,
absurd.
yes.
But we have 2 more draws and 2 more 4-pin. That's not a 4-pin, and that's not a 4-pin.
So
I
there you
think we're
go.
going to be finding, and Ryukyoku in the end.
Oh,
Shu and
wow.
Korak will pick up the 1,500 points, but we'll go again.
Yeah, this game is not yet over. In fact, we're just seeing these two get a little bit higher.
This high pie is ridiculous.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Clean up some of these honor tiles, and you're looking at a great hand.
I declare...
just draw the honor tiles yourself. Ishanten already.
Oh my gosh.
Sanoko chance.
I hereby declare this the night of South 4 comebacks.
Right?
That's what we're observing all night tonight.
And if the pattern continues, she will get really close to first and end in second.
Take a look at what's happening over on the left. Well, okay. I was thinking possible Kokoshi run here for the heck of it. But dropping that east early on makes me think, maybe not.
Yeah, head 9 in a pair. There's a world where you could make Chanta instead out of this and make
That's
use
right.
of the 2 Dora.
Absolutely.
But of course, having that pair of Chuso isn't the most helpful in the situation. And now that you've paired up the 5-pin, you're thinking, oh, maybe I should have gone the Chitoi route. But even the Chitoi route, you'd probably still be discarding the 5-pin anyway. So not that big of a backfire, just an unfortunate draw when you really need good draws. Hatsu is a nice pickup as well. Now you can even
call this Hatsu.
Yeah.
That's exactly what Kinyan does.
Call the Dora now for a Mangan. Ishanten for Kinyan. Ishanten for Shu. To the right.
Wow, gonna be another race here.
Yeah.
Shades of the last game.
Oh, that's a beautiful pickup, and we will see Tenpai now. That was Ishanten for Vince. On the way here, the 4-7.
4 for Ipeko.
Yep.
And no
Richie
chance of the
Pihu.
7s coming out anyway, it would seem.
Dora 1.
Only 1-4 left in the wall.
And this is not what Korak wanted to see. Your closest competitor declaring Ricci so early like this. It almost incentivizes you to push right back, but...
Picking up an undeclared con, dropping the 9, so... Might be looking to milk a Rinshan out of this, perhaps?
Perhaps. Could. Ooh, interesting. 6. Because it's safe, but there's danger if an approach to Tenpai is made.
Kinyan Tenpai,
By the way,
though. 1
yeah,
Mon
and that's the
Tuso.
very dangerous Tenpai. Of course, 1 Mon locked up to the right in Vince's hand, and I'm not sure if Korak is going to be willing to drop the 1 Mon now.
Not the Dora,
Having made
no.
the decision to drop the 6. But, we see a chase from
Oh,
Dealer.
wow. And they're waiting on
2-5.
2 and 5,
Pin.
yes.
Yeah, very scary.
Very scary all around this table. So appropriate for the start of the fall season. I must say.
Absolutely. Everyone fighting for glory, and Kinyan for the points.
Korak wondering how to keep going from here. Picks up the 2 pin, though.
Oh. It's safe against 2 players, but finds the safer 3, so... And that 3 so is 2 tiles worth of safety.
There you go. And now Kinyan adjusting things slightly. Just to make
You don't have Chanta, so you don't need to retain the 9 pin.
Right.
Unclear whether the 9 pin is actually safer than the 6 pin here. You're wondering why there haven't been any discarded. Oh, I guess 1 has been discarded. It's probably a little bit safer. But Korak continues to find save tiles. Set up a Suji, a Naka Suji.
But he'll be the one, the lone one paying out here as we head to Ryukyoku. South 4 continues, though, and now take a look at this score separation. Just 5,800 points separates our dealer in third from the leader, Korak. And just...
Hands, they all look good.
Yeah, they do, once again. Picking up a Anko of the Haku already for Zu. And this could become a very expensive. Well, don't go for don't go for Honitsu in this case. You got 2 Dora now. Do something with that. But yeah,
basically just play as efficiently as possible and complete your hand.
Now that might be more likely from Vince seeing a flush here with lots of Pinzu in hand, but probably looking for just a quick way to just jab Korak and take the lead quickly.
There are enough sticks in the middle right now that any hand will give Vince first.
Oh, so he's just that's right. Yeah. Meanwhile, Korak is
also aiming to just finish anything.
Mm-hmm. And with this hand, well, it's not as fast as the other ones, I don't think, but it's
Ishan 10 though, and
it is Ishan 10 now. Yeah, there you go.
Very wide now.
Oh, waiting on the 4-mon. We have 10 pi from Vince though, waiting on the 7 and the 4 pin. One of those 4 pin is in the hand of Yukitora Kinyon with. Well, it could be the weight that the shape you're waiting on here for the 3 and the 6. But we have Ricci from Korak now. Waiting on...
1 turn too late. The 6 pin just came out. It's the 3 6 pin wait.
3 6 pin as well. We could see Kinyon also going for that in a reach as well, perhaps.
Yeah. And interesting, Vince hesitated just a millisecond on that 6, thinking, should I go for the Toy Toy? But ended up making what's probably the right play.
Absolutely.
3 6 pin versus 4 7 pin versus 2-mon, because I'm 100% sure that Shu's going to push this.
Yes, Shu now 10 pi waiting on 2-mon. There's already an Anko of that in the hand across, though. It doesn't matter, because this is going to be a victory for Vince, taking up 6,600 points on that double south. What a finish there. Vince taking home the gold this time. 43,700 points. This is going to be 28 points added to the total. Korak, though, nothing to sneeze at, with 13 points added to the total for him. For Zhu, we have 3.5. Also a just above 30k. And Kinyon will be taking an early loss in this season. 45 points, 45.5 points down.
Yeah, this is a nice ending screen. It really shows the sliding UMA that this league features. With the victory, Vince will be the recipient of a plus 15 points of UMA in addition to the 13-7 that he scored above 30,000. In second place, with 3 players above, Korak will get plus 5, and that will be added to the 8,300 above 30,000. And for Shu, being in third place above 30,000 will net you plus 0 in the UMA, and you will retain the 3,500 points that were scored above 30,000. So that translates into a plus 3.5. And then for Kinyon being the only player below 30,000, that will translate into a negative 20 loss in this situation.
Absolutely. Well explained. Thank you very much. And it looks like the call has been made, and these 4 will be playing their Game 3, starting in just a little bit. I believe it's their Game 3. It might be Game 2. Let me just roll up in my stats here. No, this is Game 2.
Yep, like Game 2. I think they started their first match a little bit late.
That's right. Okay.
There's a bit of a delay there, and so they were planning on playing as many as 4 today, but I think with the late start they might end up sticking with just 2.
And that game will be getting underway in, well, just a few seconds now. They are getting started quite quickly. Oh, just a moment.
It's a flash of the initial high pie, and we'll get right into it. It will be Arthur as the first dealer.
There we go. The Dora is West, and taking a look at Korak's opening hand. Pretty conventional stuff here. Got a good sequence coming together. Good other shapes and other suits as well. Vince, meanwhile, great presence of the Pinzu right now. We're seeing a possible straight here, you could say. Flush of some kind. We'll take a look. Kinyon, meanwhile, as our opening West person. We have the A good sequence in the Manzu with an Anko in the 7 Mon there as well. Good stuff in Pinzu happening as well. Anko in 5 pin now, in fact. And our opening north seat is Zu with a sequence in Manzu. Otherwise, though, pretty tough going here. Early Ricci from Kinyan, though, waiting on the 5 pin 1 so.
5-8-1. A little bit worse that a 1 and an 8 had just been discarded from Vince, but you have such a beautiful Suji trap set with your early 4-so discard. And there was some hesitation on that Ricci. I wonder if Kinyan was thinking about the possibility of making a Sananko. If you don't declare the Ricci and you pair something up, either the 6 or the 7 pin, you can declare Ricci and hope to Tsumo Sananko.
I think that's the right call here. Just want to get points on the board. Vince will be chasing, though, and he'll be waiting on the 5 pin to complete that straight I was saying he might want to try to go for.
Had 2 choices. Could have waited Champon or waited on the straight and chose the one with value.
But as we can see, all the 5s are pretty well locked up right now.
Uh-oh, this is a bad tile, and that's going to deal it 100% of the time. It's safe to both Ricci's, or at least a Suji to both reaches. It's a terminal Suji at that. Fortunately, the deal-in was not that expensive.
Ricci Nomi in this case, Korak taking the first hit here, but it's still early on. East 2 begins now. Dora is 8-so, and in this starting hand for Vince, our dealer, we see a sequence in the Sozu already set, but otherwise not a whole lot happening in this hand as of yet. Kinyan, meanwhile, has some good shapes happening in Pinzu, but also going to need some work there. Looking at Zu right now. Shu. That's how it is. Shu? Am I saying that right?
Pronunciations are sometimes difficult. I was just under the assumption that it was Shu, but I could be mistaken. Apologies to the players if we are mispronouncing your names.
We do our best sometimes. At least I'm not.
Feel free to correct us. Send us a PM.
Please, yes. Bing us up on Discord between matches.
Oh my goodness! Look at
this hand though. Yeah, we have Sanshoku, possibly Peiko.
Dora 2.
Dora 2. Yes, that's right. Yeah. So, no matter how you slice it, great hand for the player across. Korak, though, has some sequences forming up. This hand could be a contender, just needs a little bit of help, but definitely all eyes are on the hand across right now. What an expensive hand to have to go up against right now. Could also be Junchan, yeah, that's right.
Chanta or Junchan, yeah. The very good notice of the 5 Mon coming out and then the 4 Mon following. So either the East is going to get paired up or the 1-so. And if you can find a replacement for the East, like I don't know, a 1 pin or something along those lines, a 9 pin, just any terminal tile or honor that isn't already twice cut. And here's a question for you: should you draw the? Well, let's put that on hold.
Yeah, we have another
we see
Ricci.
a Ricci from Kinyan. Oh, but there's Tempai for Shu. We're gonna not see a chase. It's gonna be a Dama.
Oh, you don't need a Ricci on that. Oh.
There's a Suji trap set, so you can use Kinyan's discard of the 4-so to trap the 7-so into entering your own hand, or at least being discarded into your win. And well, for Kinyan, this is a Ricci Pinfu waiting on the 6-9 Mon. Of course, the 6 would give Tanyao as well. So a fairly standard early second row Ricci. Little do you know that there is a monster to your right.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Now, the rest of the table is going to be alerted to this fact that Shoes has value here.
There's the 7!
But there's the 7!
Coming out of the Ricci.
Junchan Sanshoku.
Baimon, 16,000 points.
How often do you see that? Adama Baimon.
I can't recall the last time I've seen that.
And what a huge start for Shu. And this is
absolutely
47,000 points after East 3.
That's definitely aiming high here.
Yeah, not the start that Kinyan was looking for after that last game, but what else could you do? That's just textbook Ricci right there.
Just a moment while we refresh here. A little bit of a bug on Tenno's end.
Yeah, we'll get that refresh in. And already call of the double east, so that might help us a little bit. We've got 2 Han already. Dodora, maybe we can build into Honitsu. Maybe you can find just a dealer continues and go on a bit of a streak here.
As we've seen plenty of times tonight already.
Mm-hmm.
But this
It's
isn't
just not South 4 yet.
I know, it's not South 4, so we don't have that magic happening yet. But you could make some magic happen earlier on. You still have plenty of time. I mean, look at Vince's hand. You want to talk about triplets of wins. The West's here, North that are actually Yakuhai. And depending on how you play the rest of the suits, that could become a quick win. Maybe not the most expensive, but it can get you above 30k.
Well, speaking of speed, Kenyon has now found Ishanten, just deciding which child to retain as a potential pair. Of course, it's a lot of times you'll retain the 1-3 Mon block, just so that you have an extra tile to call, that being the 2 Mon, should it leave Vince's hand. But instead chooses a very nice Tonki weight, that being the 1-so.
Yes. Well, everyone's still probably discarding their terminals right now, so that could be a good sneaky catch.
Ooh, 9-so would be an interesting Sotogawa trap. But one is already discarded as the door. Oh, the door is the 1-so, so of course you'll wait on that.
Yeah, of course. Shu now calling calling Ricci, but picks up the
there's the sumo.
There's the sumo for the dealer with a Mongon.
Yeah.
2 Dora makes this 13,000 points for our dealer, Kinyon. Digging out of a pretty bad Roan taking before. That's going to move you up to 2nd place.
And that, folks, is why you look at the door indicator.
Absolutely. We didn't do a good job of that last time. My apologies.
Yeah, well played. And that's why you just lose a bit of efficiency, discarding away from the 3-1 block, to be able to build a Mongon. Well played from Kenyon.
Absolutely.
As we've come to expect after last season's victory.
Indeed. That's right. Kenyon is the league champion, I believe, right?
Yeah. Yep. Completed the summer season in 1st place overall in A1. So congratulations once again.
Good going there. Now, the Dora this time is 8-pin. I believe Kenyon's already decided that's not going to factor into this hand, though, after discarding the 9-pin. East-West, though, well, you have probably holding on to the East. Some good shapes happening in the Manzu, though. That could turn into something there. But take a look at Shu's hand right now. Chun Anko right now, with some sequences in Pinzu, working on the Sozu as well. Korak, meanwhile, with 3 pairs already locked in. Though I wouldn't call this a Chitoi run just yet. And Vince, with a few pairs of his own, 5 to be exact, though, but not going for Chitoi this time. Interesting call there, but you do have the whites and the greens, so you can definitely make some calls, bring in a Toy perhaps.
Yeah, when you're thinking about Chitoi versus Toy, and you have mostly edge pairs, except for 1 middle pair, and that middle pair comes out, you're like, that's it, that's my Toy. Grab the middle pair. I've got nice weights for everything else. We just dash our way into the 2 Han hand, and if you can get the honors as well, that's 4 Han, that's a Mongon.
Yep. Just go dragon hunting a little bit. We see
Speaking of dragon hunting,
right there.
One of each. Will we see the green come out now?
I mean, at this point, they're just sitting by themselves.
They're thinking carefully. Decides against it. Not this time.
Let the momentum die a little bit there. But you don't need to wait for the draw, because Vince gets it anyway. 8 Mon, 3 So for a Toy, white and green. That's a Mongon.
No con.
Yeah, that'll be a Mongon in most cases. Yeah, drops the green, doesn't call con.
Yeah, that's totally fine here, though. You've got a Mongon. You don't need to reveal that to the rest of the table.
Would you want to do that, though, and make people think you're going Daisangen?
That's an interesting strategy. Reveal the fact that you have the dragons, so that the Chun doesn't come out and really locks Kenyon out of the hand. Now, the problem would be Shu knows that it can't be Daisangen and would continue to push normally. In fact, Shu here waiting on the 8-pin.
Yeah, but take a look at this. Vince abandoning the Toy now.
Interesting.
waiting on the 2 and the 5, but it doesn't matter because now Red Dragon Dora 2 for Zhu.
Well, this game, these past 2 hands have just been revealing how strong the Dora Tonki weight is.
Absolutely. And it just keeps on rolling. East 4 as we load things up here. The animation.
Dealer Zhu.
Yeah, dealer is Zhu right now. Pretty standard opening hand. Actually, that's looking pretty good. Just a moment.
Yep, we have the Haku pair. We had a completed shape, which was pretty nice. Probably willing to call for Fascinating, except for the fact that I believe you're already Ishan 10, if I can read that shape correctly.
Right, there we go. Yes, you've got the Haku's Ishan 10 already, so great starting hand here for Zhu to just keep the momentum going, get another monster lead, and hopefully be able to defend it. As we've seen, that's by no means a guarantee.
Yeah, absolutely. If the Haku comes out, are you calling it, or are you going to wait? Call into Tenpai for 1 Han?
I mean, if I'm in the dealer's shoes here, I think I do call it. Just just give nobody else a chance to really catch me, because that's what we've seen tonight. You give someone an inch, they take a mile.
Yeah, it was never presented with that choice, and so found Tenpai first. Clears Ricci with a Shampoo 4-pin Haku weight. Pin, of course, the Dora indicator makes it a lot less likely to come out, and the Haku is twice on the wall. When we see it in Vince's hand across the way. Vince has some safer tiles to get rid of first.
Yes. Looks like Vince could back into a Chitoi here if he wants to play it safe.
So far, Genbutsu.
That's right.
I guess for a while there, Korak was actually Ishan 10.
Yeah, he seems to be backing out of this for now.
He's shifting this around, and now you've drawn like the 2 and the 5 were scary enough. You weren't sure if one would pass. You've drawn now the whole set, 2, 5, and 8. None of them are
but there's the 4-pin.
Wow, the last one.
Ricci Sumo, no Ura, but that'll be another 4,000 points to this already big lead, crossing the line into 50K.
This high pie is a little bit awkward to have one of each wind.
Yes. You do have a Dora, though. Part of a sequence. Already locked.
Yeah.
I mean, in this case,
normally, it looks like.
Just drop those extra wins. See how the rest of your hand develops,
Yeah.
Just take it easy.
Draw into 6, 7, 8.
Easy breezy, So, anyway. Bad puns aside, Korak, looking for a good... he's got a sequence in that hand as well with a pair of the Haku. Chun there also looking promising, but you see a pair of the Chun off in Vince's hand here with a sequence there of his own. A couple of shapes coming up as well. And Kenyon has a good presence of the Sozu right now. Some pairs to go with it, but otherwise a little bit of work to be done here.
Yeah, with the double Yakuhai pair, Vince was looking to have a bit of an advantage over the rest of the table, but Zhu has drawn amazingly well. Paired up the Hatsu, and is now 2 away from Tenpai. Only increasing the possibilities here with the draw of the 4-so.
Yes.
And of course, you'll note, retaining the 6-so, you can draw a 5-so and complete a shape there. Even discard the Hatsu pair for a potential Tanyao or Pinfu. And also the 6-so can help make use of another Dora should that be drawn.
That is true.
We do see the Chun called across the way from Vince.
Oh, yes.
Aiming for a 2,000 point hand.
I think Kenyon might be, well, I'm not so sure now, but could be angling for Honitsu now. Hatsu called by Zhu.
Now pressing things forward here. Matching the speed of your opponent across the table. Kenyon with a very awkward hand, and It might just be sort of bluffing Honitsu at this point. And this is technically Tenpai, just on the 2-pin though.
Yes.
I like a call here.
But there comes the 2-pin, and that'll end that run pretty quickly. Vince
Another
taking
very
the reds.
cheap hand.
Yeah. Cheap hand, but it'll help you switch places with Kinyon at this point. So
yeah, actually that jumps into second. So very tight here for second, third, and fourth. Shu, of course, with a Dama Baimon, still far in the lead. But Kinyon made a big play to come back from dealing into that, and currently in third overall. But it's Korak's dealership.
And he kind of stared at that hand a while. It's a difficult hand, but it can be worth a lot of points if it works out. You have the south and the east now in this hand as well, with some pairs and some paired up tiles. He's going to make the quick way here and call the 2-pin. That's Otozuke.
It will require the Chun in order to complete this hand. But after Shu's fast call for what appears to be a Tanyao, wants to speed up as quickly as possible to match.
And Shu, yes, that's a very competitive hand here. You have a sequence in the Manzu right now, stuff coming together in Pinzu. You could call all pawns if you wanted to. Well, if the wall wanted to, I should say.
Yeah, ideal draw here would be a 7-pin for Tenpai.
Vince calling the souths also, and Korak calling the Sozu for a quick 1-so Chun Tenpai here.
Of course, the Chun is the only tile that will win. But if you were sitting around the table and you looked at these calls, you are not expecting this to be a 1-so Chun hand. Look at the discards are all 1s, 9s, and honor tiles.
Right.
Oh no, that's the wrong one. Yeah, throws it back. It's gonna deal in. Oh, that is so sad.
Well, better to rip the Band-Aid off quickly and not have to deal with the rest of the game in Furitin.
Yeah, we ended up not seeing a Chun at all.
That's a tough break for Korak as we move into South 2. The door is 1-pin. We see one of those in this hand for Vince. Otherwise, though, not too much to write home about for this one. Possible, maybe a shot at Janta at this one, but I'm not too optimistic about this one, unfortunately. Kinyon, meanwhile, has a good sequence going in Manzu and Pinzu. And across for Shu, we see some good sequences forming up here as well. And Korak calling the Haku, trying to get some momentum back in his game. Except for that Haku, though, again, not a whole lot happening here. There's no other really sequences set up. Shapes coming together, though. We'll see what happens.
I wonder if that hand, or how long Korak is going to keep this door 1-pin. Can make a little bit better use of it here. Yeah, there it goes. Unfortunately can't call here. Might even be thinking about building it towards the Peiko now. But nope, throws that back.
Not to.
We are actually Ishan 10 if we are looking at Kinyon's hand.
Ishan 10 with 2 Dora. Very nice. Though you might want to drop one of them. If you pick up the 4-pin, that would be awesome.
Even better than the 4-pin? The 1-pin?
That too, yes. Absolutely.
I wonder I think Kinyon would just reach you that, or just draw the Kanchan, and now you can Dama for 3,900 or a Mangan, or you can take the Richi and guarantee Mangan either way.
He's
Richi
looking for points right
too.
now. Kinyon needs points.
Wooden tile is drawn immediately by Korak, but not going to come out just yet. Has a Suji tile to discard first. Yeah, Korak in a little bit of trouble here. This hand is not worth that much. But you've called twice already. Yeah. You're kind of stuck.
You don't want to really risk it on this one. You just end up in an even worse place. Ooh. There's
it's
the
just
other
drawing all the tiles.
Yeah.
Now, should be noted, Vince has called into Tenpai, Tanyao only.
Oh, draws another dangerous weight tile. That's
think about dropping one of the
Shu's
pairs
hand.
Here.
Shu is Tenpai on that 7 or 8.
Picks the right pair to discard.
Wow. Expert dodging here from Korak on display. Oh, and picks the other
Oh,
8.
oh yeah, it feels like it's gonna. Now, dealing into deal here is actually not the worst.
Yeah. Oh my gosh! Look at this. Oh man.
It finally comes out.
I
Yeah, just
mean,
drawing every single bad tile possible. But it's just 1500, so the other option was much worse.
yes, absolutely. Still, I mean, probability wise, you could only dodge something like that for so long. So,
Yeah, it would have been a true miracle for Korak to be able to find Tempai and dodge everything.
still, we'd be talking about that all season probably if he did.
Absolutely.
Anyway, South 2 continues. Dora is 4 Mon. We could see one of those in this hand pretty easily. But otherwise, good pairs. Good sequences potentially lining up. In Kenyon's case, a lot of dragons in this hand, a pair of the Hatsu, and also a lot of Pinzu. Could see a flush coming together, perhaps. We'll see what he discards here. Just thinking about which way this direction goes. Putting down the north instead, a good tile to put down if you're just still thinking things out. Shu, meanwhile, a sequence in the Manzu. Could be a pair, depending on how you slice it. And Korak has another not so easy hand to deal with, but it's not completely undoable here. That's the pair of Souths will certainly help things along, should he decide to go that route.
Yeah, interesting decision will be. Well, actually, we saw passing the first South from Shu, and not willing to cheapen the hand just yet, being in 4th place in South 2. This is the position where you're really starting to worry about the final positions or the UMA bonuses. South 3 especially, but in South 2, you're starting to get nervous if you're in 4th place. Well, is that a Tempai already?
Yes, for Shu, waiting on the 3. Yeah, just the 3. 3 Mon.
The 3 Mon here, but there's, I imagine, a bunch of weight improvements.
Yes, so that's why we didn't see the Ricci get called here.
We might even see Tempai.
Oh,
okay,
but gonna go ahead and call it now.
But nope, just throws it.
2 3 Mon in the dealer's hand right now, and 1 in the Dora indicator tile. Meanwhile, take a look at this half flush happening in Kenyon's hand, already ready to go here. Not quite Tenpai yet.
Yeah, Ishan 10.
Ishan 10.
And that's certainly worth... Oh, that's a Dora.
Calls it. Korak's getting a quick, but also pretty painful hand here. Should it come together.
Now Korak really needs that last South. Could have made the swap to Tanya, but...
Picks up another Dora.
If Korak ends up on a Dora Tanki, wait. Oh, so it's no longer going to win. That would be a very Korak thing to do. Now, is this Tempai? I think it's just shy. Oh, no, it is. Okay. So could have waited on a Tanki, I guess. On the 8-pin Tanki if you drop the 9, but the 9 is Suji.
Kenyon's noticing something's up with that 9. Korak, meanwhile, hanging on to the 3-4.
If you run out of save tiles, the 9 is quite likely to come out, but Vince actually does not discard just yet. Wants to find a way to enter Tempai before Yukioku. Again, another opportunity for Kenyon to call and switch up to a pin weight, but chooses not to.
Yeah, I think we're seeing players kind of start to fold here.
Korak calls into
Not
Tempai
Korak
here.
Oh, but he's going to put down the 3 Mon and, deals in again. Ricci, Tanya, Dora 1 for 6,500 points total. Well, 5,200 plus the sticks.
Korak definitely going for the greedy route to get back in this game. Would have been Tempai for a Mongon. Tanya Dora 2 with a Dora Tanki again. Waiting for the last Dora.
Well, that's the thing with, I think there are few players who can play that greedy game quite like Korak. Definitely the aggressive game. But we'll see where this goes. Still 2 shots here to come back a little bit more.
Yeah, right now, Kenyon in the driver's seat, aiming to make it over 30,000 and surpass Vince for the time being. Look at these pairs. 5.
Yeah, good pairs. Dora is 4, so that's not one of the pairs. But yeah, you're already Ishan 10 for Chitoy on just the 3rd discard here. See if we can keep that up. Shu, meanwhile, got a pair of the Tuso as well. But got some sequences forming up here as well. Korak with a good Anko of the 6 pin. And some sequences there in the Manzu as well. And taking a look at...
for the Tanyo here.
Yeah. Vince's hand, a lot of dragons once again, especially picking up that Chun. Drops the north with some good sequences there. This could be a very quick kill. Kind of need to start thinking about points even in his situation if you want to aim for first. But you are above 30k, so you might want to just secure that as well.
Yeah, we'll see. For Kenyon, it's just a waiting game. Can I find my pair? But the rest of the hands are actually building towards something. Haku has not been discarded yet, so we see the each come out instead. And just like that, another Haku drawn. So only one left in the wall. Oh, there's a Chun pair up for Vince. And that means that might be entertaining thoughts of Daisanga and pair of Hatsu, pair of Chun, and a 1 Haku in hand.
Oh, wow, yeah.
We need to find the last Haku before Kenyon drops hers.
Which Kenyon just did? No. Kenyon still has it. Yeah, Kenyon still has it.
Yeah, we saw the one come out.
Yeah.
Oh, but all the shapes are coming together. So instead we'll have a very nice Richi. Shampoo wait on the Hatsun Chun.
Wow. Green, red. And a chase from Korak.
What a pickup.
Very impressive draw there. Just thinking about which one to drop. Which one to be safe against the other reach, probably. 5 or 8's his weight.
258?
258. In fact, so wide open.
Richi.
Sometimes you just want to double check and make sure you really do have this weight and you're not messing something up, you know.
Absolutely. If you have the time, it's worth using it.
Oh, and it's picked up. Calls Roan on the red dragons this time. No Ura, but that's 4,600 points for Vince as we head into all last. Just a moment here while we go to the all last dealer, which is Shu. And Shu is in a very nice place right now. 56,000 points. Gonna need to find some way to end this game gracefully, though. That's kind of the challenge with the rules of this league. And looking at this hand, though, if you wanted to keep just getting more points, you have an almost deep Peiko getting set up. The 8 and 9 also coming out there, too. And another sequence just picked up with the Sozu. So you could... Well, I was going to say he was going to go for perhaps a Jun-chan of some sort, but dropping that 8 makes me think probably some other ideas here. Maybe just a standard Richi, take whatever points you can type hand. Korak, meanwhile. Anko of the Wests right now. Also a bit of the Pinzu, a bit of the Manzu. Good, encouraging shapes here for that hand. And Vince across. Well, we have some shapes coming together as well with South. Another pair picked up there with Forso. And Kenyon. We have some work to be done here, but good shapes so far. We'll just see if any of them can really come together and help mitigate the damage here. Perhaps strike Vince and take a second out of third.
Yeah, placement-wise, Shu not really in any serious danger from Vince, but this is your opportunity to really rack up the score, and so I imagine we'll see full speed ahead, especially with these draws. Already Ishan 10 here. And for Vince, you really just want to secure your second place here. Make sure that Kenyon can't pass you something like Hanuman Sumo.
And this is a good, strong second. Nothing to be ashamed of here.
Or even just a Hanuman direct. Yeah. Goes Otozuke waiting for the south and calling the 1-2-3 shape. It is one of the worst shapes in the hand. However, it does sort of reveal that you might need one of the honor tiles. So we haven't seen the south just yet.
We have Tenpai for dealer now, 7 or 8 mon.
Yeah, that was an awkward Tenpai. You were either on a sort of Tonki / Kanchan. We'll call it a Tonki. Or you take the Shampon, but not willing to declare the Richi here.
And now Tenpai for Vince, waiting on the 3-pin.
And after 2 calls, you might, if you're Shu, just call the Richi here to scare the rest of the table off.
There you go. Waiting on the 6 or the 3-pin.
Yeah, Korak with a Richi instead.
Well, we see Kenyon join in,
back
but there you go. Korak taking the final shot here. Richi Ipatsu Sumo with an Uradora for 9,000 points. Perfectly fine Mongon. Don't believe that digs him out of 4th, but it will help mitigate the damage here. 37 points for Shu, 6.9 points for Farcon, and on below the 30k mark there, we have Kenyon with 14.7 down, and Korak losing 29.2.
Yeah, but that was actually a really big Mongon right there at the end. It doesn't change the placement, but I tell you what, a negative 29.2 sure looks a whole lot better than a negative 37.2. So well done, recognizing the path to some value, finding your way there.
And there's your updated standings. You can see the updated standings there on the side of your screen there. Yes, with Shu taking a early lead here in the league. Vince not far behind though. And
early days, but it is nice to see yourself in that first slot.
Good to take that first strike. And Kenyon, of course, down in negative 60. But again, still early days here. Korak also just dipping into the demotion zone. I shudder to think what would happen if Korak was unleashed upon A2, but...
Well, we already have some very strong A1 players that have been unleashed into the A2 division, so...
This is true.
I cannot wait to see how that situation develops, but...
And
certainly all the divisions quite exciting to watch.
Of course. And participate in your case. And it could be your case too, dear viewer. That's right. Sign-ups for Winter League are now open, and if you want to get an early bird sign-up, well, we might just ask you to become a sub sometime to join in the action somewhere in the league, and of course, then you'll join us in our B3, possibly C1, depending on how things shake out, division when that comes around as we pass into 2023. Can't believe that's already coming up. It's insane. But you can find more information about that at AmericanRichi.org. And of course, if you want to stick up with our streams throughout the week and any ones you might have missed, check out our YouTube channel at tinyurl.com/ARMLYT. And plenty more where that came from as well. You can find us on Twitter at AmericanRichi as well to keep up with the league and other neat posts from Edwin and the gang in the front office there. So, again, really great action tonight here with some people's seasons starting off just fine and other people seeing they've got a little bit of a mountain to climb, but otherwise great action tonight, wouldn't you say so?
Absolutely. That first couple of matches from B3 were still thrilling with the South 4 comebacks and then the amazing hands that were built in the A1 match as well. Just really exciting all around.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, again, this is just the beginning, folks, so if you want to keep up with us, be sure to hit that follow button just beneath this video player to follow American Richi, ARML, and keep up with our action throughout the week. Of course, you can keep up with me. I am at SB Singletary, where you can keep up with my personal Mahjong journey, as well as my podcast that has absolutely nothing to do with Mahjong, but is still pretty cool anyway. The second episode actually just came out today, in fact, so fun times all around. Anywhere you want to send people, Nathaniel?
Nowhere in specific, but of course, Blaine, is always a pleasure doing commentary with you. Very happy to knock out the first cast of the season.
Mm-hmm. Fun times all around, and definitely plenty more where that came from. But that is it for us tonight, so thank you for watching here, and of course, stick around for even more action in the ARML in the coming weeks. Good night, everyone.